This young man liked the game so much he played it 1,000 times, training 1,000 S-rank heroes. He thought there would be nothing left to play next, when unexpectedly the publisher sent an email. The message read, "Congratulations, you are the first to train 1,000 heroes. You are granted special access to unlock a unique mission. Prevent the world's destruction at difficulty X." Excited to have something to do, he was especially thrilled it was difficulty X. He'd thought S was the highest. Blood boiling. He immediately moved the mouse to accept without noticing the red note below. Warning, this is a time travel type mission. And then what had to happen happened. He was thrown straight into an unfamiliar forest. But as a master who'd trained 1,000 heroes, he wasn't too worried and began his usual procedures. First, observe the surroundings for danger. Then check his own stats via the system. However, all his attributes were 0. Only a copy skill like some slime and a useless buff skill remained. Well, it's difficulty X, so he gritted his teeth and accepted it. He continued to check the quest board. First, he had to survive for 10 minutes to receive basic equipment. He looked around once and declared it easy. There weren't any strong monsters here, after all. No sooner had he finished speaking than the wind rustled the grass, and from the treetops, 2 dragon kings fighting surged toward him. 2 S-rank bosses, right in the novice area? Could it be because the mission is X difficulty? Better run away from here. Red magical circles blazing in the sky made him fear. If he got hit by that attack, he'd definitely die. Wait, isn't this the perfect chance to use the copy skill? To copy, you must witness the moment a skill or trait is activated, and identify the target's name and rank. This was far too easy for him. The whole forest burned, the dragon's silhouette appearing in his vision. The system immediately popped up. Target trait, elemental resistance, S saved. Kim Ho felt pleased looking at the dragon. Great, it's done. He hadn't expected to get an S-rank trait this early. What luck. System note, elemental resistance S greatly reduces all elemental damage. He reached out and touched the air with a smile. Although he also wanted the skill, without a mana core, he couldn't use it. For now, he was content with the S-rank trait. Huh, the wind is blowing his attack back. The fire dragon inhaled deeply. Even its rival was stunned. Kim Ho sensed the danger and ran as fast as he could. Dragon Roar. That's the dragon's strongest move. Even with elemental resistance, the fire dragon quickly unleashed its ultimate. But if he took that attack at this distance, he'd still die. Then the system appeared with a new notification. Novice mission completed. Reward. S Dragon Academy uniform, student ID card, train ticket. Novice mission 2. Board the train to Dragon Academy. Many people stood on the platform waiting for the train to the academy. Hyunwoo politely asked for permission. Excuse me, I'm sorry to bother you, but there's no space left around here. Can I sit with you? But the girl only remained silent. Hyunwoo was quite embarrassed. Are you asleep? Sorry to bother you, I'll go. Kim Ho entered looking tired. Is there any space here? He pointed at the girl beside him with an apologetic look. Well, there is. But the girl didn't answer. At that moment, Seo Yane woke up and looked up. Kim Ho asked, can I sit here? Yane looked a bit dazed. He acted friendly. Thanks, I'm Kim Ho. She gave a brief introduction, Seo Yane. Then he turned to Hyen. You should sit too, it's fine. Hyunwoo replied politely. Thanks, I'm Go Hyunwoo. Really appreciate it, both of you. If you two refused, I'd have to stand for an hour. I'll definitely repay you. Kim Ho thought. This guy looks like the protagonist of a wuxia novel, both his demeanor and speech. He asked, why were you so late? Kim Ho recounted excitedly. Oh, I saw 2 dragons on the way and got distracted. By the time I noticed it was already late. He laughed awkwardly. Same here, I almost died. The wheels began to turn. The train started moving. In Kim Ho's mind, Dragon Slayer Academy, the place I always return to when raising a new hero. I know this place like the back of my hand, to the point it's become boring. But this time there's a difference. Go Hyunwoo, the other students, and even the train staff, all faces were strangers. This world has a setting similar to Dragon Slayer Academy, but the cast has completely changed. That means upcoming events and missions might be different. I need to watch for these new differences. Kim Ho broke into a sweat as Yane stared at him. But why has she been staring at me this whole time? Does Seo Yane have special eyes? Eyes that let her analyze everything. For example, the guy sitting in front of her, his status window looks very normal. Hyunwoo still smiled brightly. Skill, Celestial Wind Swordsmanship D. Trait. Swordsmanship D. Core E. Then she slowly analyzed Kim Ho, who was a bit unusual. Status window. Copy King. He's quite special. The number of times she's seen such a status window can be counted on one hand. Kim Ho couldn't hide his curiosity and turned to ask, "Why are you staring at me?" Co Yane recalled the advice before leaving. If you find someone interesting, try being kind to them. She decided to pull out her suitcase. There was a bag of cookies inside. Co Yane offered a cookie to Kim Ho, her face cold. "Do you want one?" He was surprised. "Yeah, thanks. Did you make them yourself?" She answered bluntly, "Yes." While eating, Kim Ho asked the newcomer, "You're Go Hyunwoo, right? I was wondering earlier. But is that beside you a sword case?" Hyunwoo couldn't help but praise, "You're observant. It's a sacred relic of my sect. Unfortunately, I'm not yet qualified to break its seal, so I have to keep it wrapped like this until then. This sword is my companion, but don't worry, I haven't been defeated by anyone so far." Kim Ho laughed at that. "Really? But wouldn't it be better to use a more durable weapon?" Just then, Shin Byung-chul leaned in the doorway, laughing loudly. "Wow, everyone's sorry to cut in. Can I sit here a bit?" Hein didn't mind. "Go ahead." Byung-chul grinned, eyes squinting. "Thanks for the warm welcome. I'll only stay a little while." Kim Ho watched quietly, thinking, "He's noisy. But I didn't hear his footsteps at all. Looks like I know who he is." He spoke bluntly. "You don't seem like you want to sit. Say what you want." The guy just scratched his head, smiling sheepishly at being called out. "Actually, wherever you all are, just call Shin Byung-chul. We're the delivery service at Dragon Slayer Academy. We can find anything, as long as you pay a reasonable price. Anything." "Exactly." Kim Ho widened his eyes at the paper. "Even if it means breaking Academy rules?" Byung-chul excitedly replied at once. "Yes, say the word and it's done." Kim Ho's expression didn't change. "So that means you're being chased now because of one of those jobs, right?" The guy, caught up in a mood, suddenly froze. "Of course. What? Seems pretty obvious." Kim Ho analyzed from his observation. "You look tense and keep glancing out the window." A foot appeared outside the door. "I'll explain the details later." Byung-chul opened his eyes wide in terror. Chun-hai arrived with several friends, looking tense. "Get out of here, they know where you are." He scratched his head and forced a smile. The disciplinary committee showed up early. The Student Disciplinary Committee is a student-run organization responsible for maintaining order in and around the academy. First-year committee members are enrolled early, guided through the procedures, and deployed immediately. Like this. She seemed out of patience and yelled, "Hand it over, you're not allowed to keep it." Byung-chul was struck by several bolts of lightning from Chun-hai. "Why are you chasing me like debt collectors? Lightning magic? That's rare." Kim Ho looked at the cookie, thinking, "Lucky, my copy skill still has room. Maybe I should copy a useful skill right now." "Sorry, cookie." But Byung-chul stubbornly retorted, "This is bad. I'm terrible in direct confrontations." Chun-hai put on gloves, ready to act. "Looks like you don't plan to hand it over voluntarily? Then I'll have to subdue you." She simply snapped her fingers, and lightning sparked into being. A bird flew straight at him. Thunderbird. Byung-chul could only close his eyes and wait to die. At that moment, a hand reached out, and that hand caught the bird. The lightning hadn't harmed that person at all. Chun-hai was irritated by this. "Do you have accomplices?" Kim Ho quickly stepped forward. "Wrong. That cookie is mine, and you guys made me drop it." She was stunned by his words. "A cookie?" At that moment, the system also notified that it had acquired the lightning magic skill, Thunderbird. Kim Ho pretended to scold them. "And you made me drop it. I was enjoying this cookie. You're making me uncomfortable." Yeon angrily lunged forward, wanting to punch them. "How dare you slander us? While we're speaking politely, move aside." Hyunwoo wasn't backing down either, ready to fight. "I think you should act more carefully. If you draw your sword, I won't just stand by." The tense air between the two groups made Byung-chul anxious. "This is bad." Chun-hai raised a hand to stop her friend. "Wait a moment. We'll give you a blank meal ticket discount for the student canteen. Is that okay?" Kim Ho immediately looked pleased. "Yeah, that's fine." Byung-chul trembled as she prepared to act. "What about me?" He replied rather indifferently. "That's not my problem." Because now Kim Ho had gotten what he wanted. "Thanks for the skill. I'll put it to good use." Chun-hai got what she wanted. He stole the station attendant's wig. That joke was over the line. Yeah, he deserved to get beaten for that. "Hey, I'm telling you honestly, you'd better stay away from Byung-chul." Kim Ho waved politely. "I'll decide that for myself. Goodbye." Yeon was still very annoyed with him. "I'll remember your face." Hyunwoo looked at Byung-chul sympathetically. Are they members of the student disciplinary committee? He beamed, relieved it was settled. Yes, only the best of the best are chosen. The one who used the Thunderbird was Song Chun-hai. Hyunwoo was shocked to hear that. Wait, you mean the Song family from the Yellow Jay Magic Tower? Byung-chul confirmed strongly. That's right, she's the granddaughter of Thunder King Song Kyungwoo. The other three aren't insignificant either. Jo Byok is a disciple of the Fist King. Han Somi was trained by the Sword Empress. And Jiam Yohan is the sole heir of the Golden Lotus Pavilion. He may not be as strong as the three, but he's not to be underestimated. After speaking, he left, not forgetting to say goodbye. Anyway, it was nice meeting you. Next time we meet, remember to greet each other. See you. Hyunwoo was impressed by the young man. He's really enthusiastic. But Kim Ho, did you really get involved just for a cookie? Kim Ho answered nonchalantly. Actually, I just wanted to see what that rare lightning magic was like. He was full of questions. But didn't you block her attack? He quickly asked. So Hyunwoo, do you know anything about that Thunderbird move? Hyunwoo replied with a serious look. It's the first time I've seen it too. It's so fast my eyes couldn't follow it. But instead of dealing damage, it seems to paralyze or lock the opponent's movements. The two continued the discussion. You're half right. What's the other half? Kim Ho excitedly demonstrated the Thunderbird. The skill's name is Thunderbird because it mimics the flight of a bird, specifically a hummingbird. Its effect varies with the caster's proficiency. The Thunderbird streaked past, so you can judge skill level by watching its movement. He recalled the situation and continued explaining. If Song Chun-hai really had experience, then when I intervened, the Thunderbird's flight path should have shifted. But it flew straight into my hand, right? That means she still lacks control or combat experience. Kim Ho was clearly excited. One move reveals so much information. He looked at his hand and chuckled inwardly. That's not all. She used an E-rank move, but its power was comparable to D-rank, perhaps due to a strong trait or a naturally large mana reserve. In any case, the Thunder King's granddaughter doesn't disappoint. I should find a way to befriend her. He then put on a thoughtful face. I've learned a lot just from meeting her. Maybe it's fate. That attitude made him laugh. Fate sounds a bit much. Anyway, I'll share these things. Hyunwoo clasped his hands respectfully. You're generous. If you ever need help, tell me. I'll do my best. Kim Ho quickly had a favor to ask. Really? Then come with me for a bit. Oh, can you lend me a coin? He looked confused by the request. For what? Kim Ho decisively pulled the cloth cover off. Inside was a game machine displaying the message. Out of order. Kim Ho sat on the wooden box opposite the arcade. This ship used to be for tourism, and this area was once a casino. As you can see, it's a bit dusty now. Hyunwoo still didn't understand what he wanted. But isn't that machine broken? Kim Ho dropped a coin into the machine. Maybe, but it only looks that way. You never know. Immediately, the game machine started working as usual. Hidden event. The fancy machine looked broken. He began to pull the lever down, definitely not going to pass it up. A bottle of water rolled into the tray below. The two stared at the bottle in shock. Nothing to be done. I wasn't expecting much either. Hyunwoo couldn't hide his curiosity and asked, Hey, why do you need me to come along? Kim Ho explained clearly. Actually, this is against school rules. The issue isn't the machine, but the items that fall out of it. He quickly understood Kim Ho's intention. So I just need to stand guard for you, right? He looked into the tray, disappointed. Nothing good again. Yeah, it'll be fine. The disciplinary committee rarely comes here. They're probably headed elsewhere now, so don't worry. First-year disciplinary committee member Han Somi suddenly spoke up. Hey, what are you two doing here? Her appearance made him break out in a sweat. Now I'm scared. Speak of the devil. Han Somi gently reminded them. Students aren't allowed to use that machine. It's a rule violation and you'll lose points. Kim Ho whispered to the worried Hyunwoo. Can you stall for me a bit? He replied in a whisper. I'll try, and check one thing while I'm at it. Somi noticed something and warned. Helping others break rules is a violation too. Didn't you know? But Hyunwoo replied calmly. I'll take responsibility. It's my choice. Somi huffed in anger. Oomph. He drew his sword. I heard Miss Han was trained by the Sword Empress, right? May I have the chance to witness her swordplay? Somi also drew her sword. Ready. What's your name? He replied politely. I'm Go Hyunwoo. Pleased to meet you. Somi quickly charged in front of her opponent. All right. Hyunwoo struggled to defend with his sword. Then he swung down with a slash. Somi looked fairly surprised at that strength. Immediately after, she ran off very quickly. This time he still managed to block the sword. In terms of inner energy, he didn't stand chance. His meridian condition was ordinary. But it's not completely hopeless. I still have something I want to test. Just try for one more minute. Sure enough, Hyunwoo became much more agile. Kim Ho returned to the game machine and continued his work. The fancy machine is one of the most iconic games in the casino. Most players wouldn't want to waste money on such a gamble. But they don't know this machine has a guaranteed win mechanism, a hidden consolation system. At the start, the player only inserts 5 coins, and now it's the 5th spin. On the final turn, he looked at the coin in his hand and thought, if I put in the borrowed coin, then on the 6th spin, I'll definitely hit the jackpot. 100% chance to receive the highest prize. An item fell into the tray below. Somi was charging at Kim Ho with her sword drawn. All right, even though the sword had broken, Hyunwoo still tried to defend him. It wasn't over yet. I've seen enough. Both were aghast as they saw Kim Ho pour the entire contents of the jar into his mouth. Huh, hey, if you eat that, a freezing effect will be applied. Seeing him like he was poisoned, they panicked. System notification. Freezing effect has been applied. But Kim Ho suddenly stood up, full of cheer. It's fine, I'm okay. Both were surprised again. Huh, so what's in that jar? Kim Ho answered completely calmly. Simply put, it's like a spirit elixir that restores mana extremely quickly. One of the guaranteed rewards on the 6th spin, the Black Ice Shard. For newcomers, it's like a deadly poison. Just a tiny fragment can freeze the whole body. But for me, it's different. That's all thanks to my S-rank elemental resistance. The system kept notifying that the freezing effect had been applied. Kim Ho told himself, although the cold is gone, the ice energy still lingers in my body. Kim Ho still felt uncertain. Would Miss Han believe that explanation? No way. If she actually believed that, she'd be hopelessly stupid. Kim Ho tried to persuade her. You must have seen it wrong. Still, Somi remained certain. No, I'm sure I saw it. Hyunwoo also felt unsure. Would Miss Han believe that explanation? No way. If she truly believed it, she'd be utterly foolish. Kim Ho tried to persuade her. You must have mistaken it. Even so, Somi was firm. No, I'm certain I saw it. Hyunwoo took the chance to ask, if you don't mind, could I see that skill again? He politely declined. Maybe next time. I can't use it frequently yet. Kim Ho also had his own calculations, and besides the skill's cooldown is an hour, so I can't play all my cards right now. Though disappointed, he acted understanding and accepted it. After all, a skill that's strong must have limitations. As he answered, Yane had woken up. Today isn't the last time. We'll definitely need it again. The ship was cutting through the deep blue water, almost there. Dungeon Island, the final stop of the voyage. True to its name, the place had many dungeons. In the past, it was a lawless region full of criminals. Until one day, the first dragon-slaying hero set foot on the island and wiped out the criminals. Conquered all the dungeons, built a city, and established an academy. Thus the Dragonslayer Academy was founded. Calls echoed throughout the school grounds. Freshmen over here, over here. Don't go over there. Don't follow those upperclassmen. Hyunwoo couldn't help grinning. It's lively. A girl shouted at her friend when she saw the tiger cub lunging. Hey, hold it back. Kim Ho agreed with his friend. It's definitely crowded. While they were still watching around, a voice called out. Chun Hai looked at him sharply. Please come with me for a moment. The two of them arrived at the Student Disciplinary Committee office. Please take a seat. This is a room where anyone who enters doesn't leave the same. The room of truth. Si-hoon began interrogating Kim Ho. I heard you ate what fell from the fancy machine, right? But you don't seem to have any issues, and the scanner didn't detect anything. He didn't answer aloud, but thought. Of course, the freezing effect has been lifted. The man gradually removed his suspicion of Kim Ho. It seems the item truly wasn't forbidden. But you, Kim Ho, allow me to make this clear. Whether you've been explained to or not, failing to comply with the disciplinary committee's requests can be grounds for punishment. Since no one was harmed, and this is the first time, I'll let you go without deducting points. But I hope this is the last time I see you here. All right, have a good term. Kim Ho bowed to him before leaving. Yes, senior. Yes. Si-hoon sipped water and said to the girl reviewing the case. It seems Chun Hai is very confident in this decision, right? He couldn't help but be suspicious. The guy looks very dubious. If the target wasn't a banned item, there's no reason for him to use that machine. And there's no reason for him to swallow that item right there on the spot. Chun Hai said with a steely expression. Actually, I think the same. It's very possible he obtained some forbidden skill. If we use an analysis lens to check his current skills, we might discover something. Si-hoon, sounding like he was counter-questioning. Chun-Hai, that's possible. But what if we find nothing? If we use the analysis lens and still can't detect anything, then what will we do? That question flustered her, and she bowed her head to apologize. About that, I'm sorry, I was a bit hasty. Si-hoon slowly stood and offered advice. Chun-Hai, I understand your enthusiasm, but for matters like this, we must be patient and consider the whole picture. Now hurry up and go, or you'll be late for the entrance ceremony. At that moment, Kim Ho reached his two friends. Thanks for saving us a spot. The system also announced, newcomer quest completed. You have arrived at the entrance ceremony on time. Reward, an E-rank weapon selection voucher and 5 coins. Kim Ho was quite pleased with the reward. Even an E-rank weapon is better than nothing. Besides, he'd recovered the money he put into the fancy machine. The entire hall immediately buzzed. They're here. Is that the principal? Why does he look so ordinary? I heard he once led a dragon hunting squad. By tradition at the Dragon Slayer Academy, the principal is always a hero who has retired to the rear ranks. And the title of hero is granted to just one among countless S ranks. Though he appears ordinary outwardly, he holds a tremendous source of power. People continued to gossip about the principal. But didn't the Saintess reject him 4 times? No, I heard it 5 times now. He was just rejected again. Kim Ho heard this and laughed until tears. Really? The principal cleared his throat and said wearily, Ahem, welcome, new students. Congratulations on being admitted to the Dragon Slayer Academy. Long ago, the Dragon Slayer Academy was founded to prepare for the war against the dragon race and to train dragon slayers. The first hero insisted on keeping the word Slayer in the name, wanting you to deeply reflect on the true meaning of a dragon slayer. So what is a dragon slayer? You can't be called a fiend slayer unless you've killed a fiend, and you can't become a dragon slayer unless you've slain a dragon, right? The audience deflated like a punctured balloon. Oh my, so long-winded. The principal continued his long speech. Taking a life is the destiny and core of a dragon slayer. Do not turn away from that truth, but also ask yourself, why do I want to become a dragon slayer? Why do I want to take a life? I hope that upon graduation, each of you will have found your own answer. One last thing, the students below had already dozed off. Please stop. Mom, my head hurts. The secretary beside him signaled a reminder about time. I hope you will become true heroes during your time at the Dragon Slayer Academy. That's all. Hyunwoo, in contrast to everyone else, perked up. What a meaningful speech. Kim Ho looked at his friend in surprise. Don't you find it boring? He beamed. Boring? Every line is truth. My master taught me the exact same things every day. Kim Ho was exasperated. You really hear that stuff every day? The bespectacled girl added an announcement. Allow me to remind you. This year's banned item list has been updated. If these items are found in your possession, they will be confiscated immediately and the violator will face disciplinary action. Additionally, until further notice, all newcomers are only permitted to participate in combat assessments on the ground floor of the dungeon. The students felt a bit intimidated, terrifying pressure. On the side, she continued to warn. If you descend to lower levels without permission and cause trouble, your family, magic tower, or guild could be implicated. So be careful. Don't let a momentary curiosity bring disaster on everyone. Know and follow the rules to avoid unnecessary punishment. The entrance ceremony is concluded. Remember to return to your dormitory on time. Kim Ho nudged Yan awake after everyone had left. That's it. Short and sweet. At that moment, a call startled them. Hey, you guys, let's go eat. Hyunwoo, seeing Byung-chul, was surprised. What's wrong with your face? He pointed to the scratch marks on his face and laughed. Oh, this? Just a small accident, don't mind it. Hey, make sure you all eat well today. Hyunwoo puzzled, why is that? He put on a mysterious air. Tomorrow is the first class, and there's going to be a major event that day. That night in the boys' dorm, Hyunwoo waved enthusiastically at Kim Ho. The next room over. What a coincidence. Kim Ho, unenthusiastic. I'm not feeling very happy about it. All right then, Kim Ho, sleep well. Kim Ho walked off while taking off his outer jacket. There's no way I'm going to sleep. With free time like this, time to form a mind vein. To use any skill that consumes mana or internal energy, you need a power source. That's the role of the mind vein. It's my first time crafting one, but I know fairly well how to do it. I've absorbed the Black Ice Shard, so I'm not short on mana now. I can do it. At the same time, in Go Hyunwoo's room, He was also meditating. Han Somi is the strongest opponent he's faced since leaving the mountain. They did restrain their power in the duel, but even at full force the outcome was hard to predict. If Kim Ho hadn't quickly compensated for Go Hyenwoo's gap in strength, he might have fallen before his blade broke. A master. That's the word Hyunwoo has associated with Kim Ho since they first met. A calm only the strong possess, a gaze that seems to see through everything. He looked at his sword and wondered, should I ask him for help? No, he's my first friend. I'll do my best on my own. The next day, in the temporary classroom, everyone was chatting. Seo Yane entered the class yawning. Hyunwoo breathed easier. There she is. I was worried you'd oversleep. Kim Ho just smiled wryly. Maybe. The podium was still empty. Hey, where's the teacher? I don't know either. The bell rang, but no teacher showed up. I wonder who our homeroom teacher is and why they're late. Oh, there they are. Before they could celebrate, they were stunned. The director appeared with a very fierce look. Judging by your reactions, I must be famous. Nice to meet you. I'll be your homeroom teacher this year. I'm Lee Sudok. He pointed at a cold-faced female student and asked, You there, tell me what people call me. The girl flinched in fear. Yes, sir, villainous hunter. Not that. Sir, the butcher of mankind. Kim Ho fell silent as he realized that in this world there are countless mutants who surpass human limits, and among them are those who use power for perverse desires. Lee Sudok was tasked with hunting down and capturing such people. The moniker Butcher of Mankind implies he has executed more villains than he has taken alive. Lee Sudok kept his expression unchanged and said loudly, I didn't want to be here either, but the principal asked, so I had to agree. Of all the missions I've been given, I'm proud to say I've never failed. I hope none of you tarnish my perfect record. I'd rather kill you than let you fail and drag me down. Hearing that, the whole hall trembled. He began writing on the board. Now for the main part. I'll explain how scoring works. The written exam counts for 30%. Conduct accounts for 10%. Just behave and don't cause trouble, and you'll get points. For some, that's practically free points. Conduct can drop below 0% and can even pull down scores in other areas. I'll be watching problem students closely. You never know, we might meet again after graduation. Lee Sudok's voice continued evenly from the lectern. Next is the most important part, the combat test. The combat test will be divided into two formats. Dungeon Assault, where you clear dungeons, and Versus Matches, where you directly face other students. Scores will be graded comparatively, meaning you must outperform the students around you. Both sections will account for 30% of the total score. Any questions? No one? Then move to the arena. Two students were fighting fiercely. Byung-chul and Hyunwoo were discussing excitedly. It's time for the classification. This is the major event I mentioned. So that's what you were talking about yesterday. To familiarize students with various scenarios, the rules for versus matches change frequently. Today's classification rule is deathmatch. A match only ends when one side is exhausted, unconscious, or surrenders. The bowl-cut guy couldn't stand it and raised his hand. I surrender. The time limit is 5 minutes. If time runs out with no winner, the judges will score or declare draw. Byung-chul continued explaining eagerly. Each person will fight 3 first-year students assigned randomly. Wins grant extra points. 300 points per victory. Hyunwoo was also very curious. What about draws or losses? Kim Ho answered quickly. No points, but no penalties either. At that moment, the system board lit up and caught his attention. It issued another notice. Classification exam side quest. Objectives. Rank at least average in the exam. Win at least one versus match 0 to 1. Place in the top 50% in the Dungeon Assault. Current rank. None. Reward. Add 1 skill copy slot. Kim Ho already had his own plan. So, I just need to win at least one versus match and rank average in the Dungeon Assault? After reading the message, he told himself, but more importantly, the classification exam is the perfect time to observe other students. An opportunity to spot those with potential to be X rank, or to remember students with skills or traits worth copying. A moment later, the loudspeaker announced, Kim Ho, Yanawa, please step forward. Hyunwoo cheered from below. Go Kim Ho. Kim Ho and the red-haired girl stood opposite each other. He paid attention to the girl holding a staff. Is my opponent from the Ruby Tower? Ruby Tower specializes in fire magic, known for strong firepower and battlefield control. In the game, I often chose them. Kim Ho smiled confidently. Sorry, but please cooperate with me for 5 minutes. Yanawa felt annoyed by her opponent. If I want to build a reputation, I have to take down someone famous. But Kim Ho? What a strange name. And that weapon. No mage bothers with that E-rank Earth Staff. The Earth Staff slightly boosts Earth magic effects and defensive spells. And Kim Ho himself exuded an odd glow. He's definitely not from the Emerald Tower, so he's not an Earth Mage. He probably only uses that staff for support spells. Raising the staff suggests he favors power over speed. The countdown speaker, 3, 2, 1. So he's the type of mage who stands and chants support spells. A flame burst forth from the core of Hoa's staff. Skill, Flame Burst. Then I'll finish this match quickly. Everyone was buzzing. Did you see that skill? Something just flashed, right? As expected, she's from the Ruby Tower. But something made her startle. The scores for both appeared instantly. Hong Yanawa 100%, Kim Ho 100%. She stared at the scoreboard in disbelief. 100%? Impossible. I didn't expect to defeat him with a single strike. But why did my attack deal no damage at all? Yanawa still pointed the staff at him, sweat beading, her eyes turning serious. My attack had no effect. Could he have used it as spell? Then try blocking this move. There's no way you can stop this with just a basic dispel. A formation and flames enveloped him. Try to move. If I see even the slightest opening, I'll intercept immediately. Huh, what the hell is that? Why is he just standing there doing nothing? Seeing his attitude, she grew even angrier. If you're that confident, then try blocking this. Fire Pillar. Flames shot up high, forming a vortex, and those nearby were affected. Truly the Ruby Tower. Hoa seemed to have noticed something. She watched Kim Ho stand firm like a mountain, inwardly astonished. He withstood the magic of a future master of the Ruby Tower without harm? Kim Ho coldly unleashed his move. At this point, I have to use my trump card. Yanawa went from one shock to another. That was Thunderbird. She quickly dodged, but the second strike hit Yanawa's shoulder. System notice, paralysis effect applied. System notice, paralysis effect applied. Only then did Kim Ho speak. That's the end. You should conserve your strength for the later matches. Think about the remaining bouts as well. The scoreboard had changed. Hong Yanawa lost, Kim Ho won. Everyone immediately buzzed. What? Hong Yanawa lost? How'd he take that hit with no damage? Who is that guy? He doesn't look like a promising freshman. Why is there no info on him? He glanced at the crowd murmuring about him and thought, seems I've attracted more attention than expected. I need to be more careful from now on. At that moment, the speaker rang again. Next up, Kim Ho. He broke into a sweat. What? Me? Can I get a short break? The speaker announced his next opponent, Song Chunhai. The audience buzzed again. Song Chunhai, from the Golden Tower? Yes, I heard she joined the disciplinary committee right after enrolling. Chunhai entered the ring, full of determination. Looks like today's my lucky day. I have some things to confirm. Kim Ho just looked at her without speaking, then calmly said, I forfeit. She was surprised by that action. After a moment of silence, the director asked, why? Kim Ho feigned rubbing his neck, acting tired. I don't feel well. If I continue now, it'll be difficult. He still tried to persuade him. Don't you want to use this chance to gain points? You still want to forfeit? But Kim Ho had decided firmly. Yes, I must. Chunhai's hand trembled with anger as she listened to their exchange. The third match counts as a forfeit too? Fine, consider a loss. She couldn't hold back and scolded him outright. Pathetic. Always be ready to fight. My grandfather always says that only those who don't waver in adversity and keep fighting to the end can reach the top. He paid little attention to those words. Now that he thought about it, wasn't her grandfather the Thunder King? Seems like grandfather and grandchild are alike. That would be useful advice for anyone aiming to be a hero. But I don't really care. Kim Ho turned and walked away, letting slip a casual remark. Right? Maybe I'm just not cut out for this. Consider it your win. Chunhai turned back, sulking. How disappointing. I was foolish to expect anything from you. Even a little. Kim Ho called out. Oh, by the way. She flinched slightly and looked back. Yes. Kim Ho flashed a bright smile. You said you'd send me the dessert coupon, right? I'm still waiting. The familiar speaker voice rang out again. Next up, Chunhai, Yang Jihong. Yang Jihong appeared, grinning loudly. You're from the Golden Tower? Looks like you'll be a worthy opponent for me. Chunhai carried her earlier anger and unleashed her power. All right, get ready. He was startled by what he saw. Huh? As the voice sounded, she landed a powerful blow on her opponent. Begin. Byung-chul watched, visibly nervous. He looks like he's badly burned. Kim Ho kept a fairly indifferent expression. Yeah, seems so. He still hadn't recovered from the shock. Good thing you forfeited. Otherwise, you'd probably be burned to a crisp by now. He went along with him. Indeed, lucky. Chun-Hai glared at him with furious eyes. Byung-chul glanced at Kim Ho worriedly. Hey, did you see her expression just now? Sure enough, she's the Thunder King's granddaughter. What an impressive debut. Kim Ho smiled and looked down at the arena. Great, someone drew attention for me. Two students behind were gossiping about Kim Ho. Oh my god, who forfeits in the classification exam? Maybe he's scared because his opponent was Song Chun-Hai. Could his win over Hong Yanawa have been just luck? Isn't he just a coward? He wasn't angry. He was pleased. A lucky coward who beat the Ruby Tower. That's exactly the kind of notoriety I want. The speaker quickly announced, Next, Song Chun-Hai. Byung-chul tensed and looked down, starting right away. I wonder who's the unlucky one next. Yang appeared holding a gun, looking very serious. Co Yang. He had to stop taking notes and frowned. Wait, she's a marksman? That's surprising. Kim Ho widened his eyes. Really, I just found out too. Whispers rose again. This is getting interesting. Aren't marksmen natural counters to mages? Maybe Song Chun-Hai will lose this match. Kim Ho was looking forward to the match. Not so fast. Let's see. He put his faith in Co Yang. Come on. If the marksman is steady, how could she lose? Kim Ho eagerly spread his 5 fingers. Want to bet? 5 silver coins. He couldn't resist. Let's do it. Both girls took the battle very seriously. Co Yang quickly aimed at her opponent and fired. Begin. Chun-Hai reached out to cast her skill, and the bullets were stopped by that hand. Byung-chul couldn't believe his eyes. Huh? She blocked it? Meanwhile, Kim Ho sighed. Just as I thought. Song Chun-Hai's mana is far superior. Even the E-rank Thunderbird spell in her hands looked like rank D. The Thunderbird flew through the barrage, aiming straight for Co Yang. She quickly dodged the attack. On the opposite side, Chun-Hai snapped her fingers, and the flock of Thunderbirds lunged at Co Yang. This time she was hit, and Co Yang struggled to dodge as well. Byung-chul grew anxious, scribbling faster. If she took that full-on, the match would be over. Kim Ho analyzed the situation. Although she avoided it, her movements seemed slower now. Chun-Hai remained cold and continued. With that electric jolt, the next strike will surely land. Indeed, Song Chun-Hai should win easily. However, she reached in her bag and took something out, then threw it toward Chun-Hai. A plume of smoke rose up very quickly. Those in the stand were surprised. Huh? A smoke bomb? Byung-chul was excited. Nice move. If it had been a normal bomb, it would have been blocked. Now the battlefield had completely changed. This is when a marksman truly shows her power. Chun-Hai was still fumbling in the smoke, and then she was struck from behind. She looked back irritably. She had blocked it with a magic shield, but the impact nearly knocked her off balance. At this rate, sooner or later I'll be in danger. Byung-chul broke into a sweat watching. She must be rich, only a freshman and already using an invisibility cloak. And switching to a rifle was a smart decision too. Chun-Hai grimaced, though she dodged the bullet. Chun-Hai was peeking around to survey her surroundings. She couldn't keep defending forever. Yang's gun was aimed at her from afar. The bullet flew close to Chun-Hai. You have to predict the mana round's trajectory. The shot seemed to pass through her protection. Chun-Hai quickly counterattacked. At that moment, she was standing face to face with her opponent. Yang had to leap up to avoid the blow. Chun-Hai smiled smugly. Got you, don't think you can dodge this. Yang couldn't react in time, and was struck by Chun-Hai. Match time expired. The scoreboard showed Song Chun-Hai 85%, Yang 68%. Time remaining, 0 minutes. Yang still couldn't get up. While Kim Ho exhaled thinking, just as I thought, Byung-chul held his head in despair. No way Yang lost. Chun-Hai removed her gloves with a very cool expression. No freshman could stand against her. Result, Song Chun-Hai wins, Yang loses. Yang calmly brushed dust off her clothes. Still, lasting until time ran out against Chun-Hai was admirable. Byung-chul dropped the coins into Kim Ho's hand. Here, 5 silver as promised. Hey, want to bet again? A man should play at least 3 rounds. Kim Ho was annoyed. Are you addicted to gambling? Once is enough. Why keep playing? At that moment, Hyunwoo appeared in the arena. Hey, seeing this you'll probably change your mind. Because Go Hyunwoo's next opponent is a disciple of the Fist King, Jo Byuk. Byung-chul looked at Kim Ho challengingly. Who will you bet on this time? He answered absent-mindedly. Well, the Fist King's disciple will probably win. He pointed his pen at Kim Ho and laughed loudly. Then I'll bet the other way. I must admit you're heartless with your friend. He replied calmly. I'm just stating the truth. He pointed his pen at Kim Ho and laughed loudly. Then I'll bet the other way. I must admit you're heartless with your friend. He replied calmly. I'm just stating the truth. Hyunwoo glanced slightly at his friend, thinking, Kim Ho is watching me. I have to show him my victory. But it doesn't look that easy. Jo Byok asked curiously, why don't you draw the sword on your back? Hyunwoo replied, not yet. Jo Byok clenched his fist. It's a shame, but I won't go easy on you. Both took ready stances. The scoreboard appeared. Hyunwoo sata prosentia. Yobuyok sata prosentia. Begin. Jo Byok quickly lunged toward his opponent to attack. His fists were like blazing fire. Truly a disciple of the Fist King, there wasn't a wasted motion. Even though Hyunwoo used his sword to block, he was affected. The strike was so strong it sent him flying. Hyunwoo was startled by that power. Even after reducing the impact, was I pushed back this far? It seems basic sword techniques won't be enough. In that case, I'll finish this with a single Tanlu move. Both charged at each other, but the opponent's fist shattered Hyunwoo's sword. He didn't want to fight anymore. Looks like I can't continue, I concede. Jo Byok respected his decision. Hope to rematch you soon. Scoreboard. Go Hyunwoo loses, Jo Byok wins. Kim Ho watched the two figures leave. Sure enough, that iron sword couldn't hold up. I suspected it from the moment I saw it on the ship. Just as I thought, he used the iron sword like a disposable tool. Byung-chul, after watching the second match, was confused. No way. How did you predict that? Byung-chul, after watching the second match, was confused. No way. How did you predict that? Kim Ho patted his shoulder, reminding him, ahem. Now, for the main event? Hand over 5 silver. He broke into an embarrassed sweat. I don't have money right now. Kim Ho gave him an out. It's fine. It doesn't have to be paid in money. Byung-chul brightened. Really? So what do you need? Kim Ho casually pointed at his notebook. Pay me with the information you have. The matches ended. After lunch will be the dungeon raid. Remember to gather at the dungeon building on time. All right, dismissed. Groups of students gathered. Oh, this is exciting. I wonder which dungeon will raid this time. So curious. Byung-chul stuffed another mouthful of food and spoke incoherently. Kim Ho angrily. If you want to know, finish eating first. Goose. He tried to finish eating then asked. Sorry, so what information do you want? The info Kim Ho wanted was simple. Just tell me about the most promising students in the 4 big factions. Byung-chul winked mischievously. All right, I claim these topics. The 4 major factions, besides official groups like the Student Disciplinary Committee, Sat Long Academy has 4 major factions. The Martial Alliance, the Guild Alliance, the Magic Tower Association, and the Knights Order. Among them, if we list the most promising talents from each faction, there are the Sword Saint's nephew, Moyong Hyunsung, Martial Alliance, Moyong Jun, Hong Yanawa, someone likely to become the future Tower Master of the Ruby Magic Tower. Guild Alliance, the one who always carries a cat on her shoulder, Druid Park Nari. There's another promising member who isn't very prominent because they're hiding their strength. And finally, the Swordmaster's son, Knights Order's Lee Song-hyun. He spoke as he flipped through the pages. Wow, these are people I truly rate as strong. Indeed, all outstanding individuals. Oh, by the way, where's Hyunwoo? All right, the club president. I totally forgot. I'll head off first, sorry. Kim Ho was at a loss for words with this youth. Yeah, see you later. He glanced at Yane eating. She was probably thinking about something. Maybe because she's my first connection in this world. I can't just leave her looking so sad. He quickly spoke to start a conversation about those cookies I dropped on the ship yesterday. Song Chun-hai sent me a dessert coupon. Since those are your cookies, you get a share too. Shall we go eat? Yane replied politely. Thank you. He was startled and turned to look at her. Yane asked a question on his mind. Why did you think I'd lose to Song Chun-hai? Kim Ho began a detailed analysis. It's hard to break a magic shield with mana rounds at that level. With such superior mana, it's understandable she's stronger than you. But if you train your mana to reinforce the rounds, the result would be different. She asked very casually. Train mana? What do I need that for? That question stunned him for a few seconds. What? Don't tell me you've never trained mana before. Yane answered just as innocently. Never. He asked further. So how do you make mana rounds? So you've never practiced mana rounds? She still answered naturally. Yeah, I've never learned. Genius. Kim Ho was shocked looking at the girl. Mana rounds are a basic skill for any marksman. Could it be she's been fighting only with energy all this time? It's surprising she could trouble Song Chunhai so much without having learned. He offered eagerly, "If you don't mind, I can help you." Yin didn't bother to object and just nodded. "All right." Kim Ho quickly stood up. Once you start training mana and learning skills, things get much easier. The bell's rung. Let's go. It's time for the next placement test. Sudak stood at the front, looking stern. Dungeon Hall. Now that everyone is present, I'll explain the dungeon raid test. The test will take place inside the dungeon. Access through the teleport gate behind me. The Mistwood. Rules. 10-minute time limit. High score format. And level locked area. This dungeon has 2 special rules. First, high score format. You'll earn points based on a number of monsters defeated within 10 minutes. The goal is to defeat as many high-quality monsters as possible. Second, level locked area. In short, this area limits your level, equipment, skills, and traits to rank F. He emphasized, and don't forget, your mental core will also be reduced to rank F, so be careful controlling your mana. Carelessness will bring disaster. All right, when I call your name, step forward and enter the gate. Those who went in earlier were lying trembling on the ground. Already complaining at this stage? Truly pathetic. Sudak glanced at the remaining people. Only Han Somi has some potential with 928 points. Rank 1 Choi Jong Pil, 530 points, top 20%. Just those 2 students? Just thinking about how to train the others gives me a headache. He sighed in exasperation and called out. Next, Co Yane. Before she entered, Kim Ho gave her some advice. Wait, Co Yane, you should use a rifle this time. Yane, expressionless, fine. Chunhai watched the 2 of them closely. If controlling mana is too difficult, just aim for the head when enemies get close. Okay, she's very curious about Kim Ho. He's not even a shooter, so why give advice? He waved before stepping into the gate. All right, see you later. When he entered the level-locked area, he recognized the familiar Mistwood. It's been a while since I returned here. He began adjusting levels for skills, traits, and equipment. He was so absorbed in the notifications, he didn't notice behind him. I'll take this chance to test my current strength. All right, let's start. Time remaining 10 minutes. A blue figure was charging straight toward him. The goblin was very excited. Begin. Time left 9 minutes 59 seconds. Kim Ho immediately drew his staff. In the Mistwood, monsters spawn randomly as you enter. But there are still certain spawn patterns. Given the goblin's position, this is pattern C, which means the next one will appear on the opposite side. He threw the knife with all his strength in that direction. The blade plunged straight into the goblin's eye. He sighed as he watched it topple backward. Looks like I don't even need this staff after all. Weapons lay scattered everywhere. Just borrow one from the orcs or goblins. The goblins kept appearing more and more. Now, let's start scoring. Screams and spurting red blood filled the forest. In the distance, 2 old trolls were rushing in. Time left 7 minutes 2 seconds. In the distance, 2 old trolls were charging. Kim Ho had his weapon ready. Wait, I shouldn't have saved this replay, should I? Almost forgot. If the system records how I move and hunt monsters, it'll definitely be misunderstood. Better delete it now. 683 points in 3 minutes? Current score 683. I've taken down quite a few. The side quest objective is also completed. If my score is too high, it'll draw attention. Best to stop here. When he stepped out of the gate, he saw a familiar head of hair. Co Yane came out looking quite dazed. How was it? 0 minutes, 781 points, top 21%. He looked at her and offered a small smile. How is it? Are you okay? Co Yane replied with a weary sigh. It was hard. Kim Ho praised. Is that so? Your score isn't bad at all. Sudak cast a disdainful look at him. That student must have quit during the first duel. Bet he'll give up again. With that cowardly mindset, does he think he can slay a dragon? But wait, that's a pretty good rank. That kid scored so many points in such a short time. This hasn't happened before, has it? Sudak thought to himself. Kim Ho. I need to keep an eye on him. Next, Go Hyunwoo stepped up. Kim Ho cheered him on. Be careful. Go Hyunwoo, full of determination and confidence. I'll be back soon. He looked at the scoreboard, analyzing the situation. That's Lee Song-hyun, the Swordmaster's son. And Moyong Jun is the Sword Saint's nephew, right? If the top students are only on par with Han Somi, then Go Hyunwoo has a chance too. As predicted, he really ranked first. As soon as he stepped out, everyone buzzed. Isn't that the guy who fought the disciples of the Fist King? No wonder he did so well back then. Who knew he could actually hit 1,000 points? Kim Ho congratulated Go Hyunwoo. Well done. He replied modestly, it's all thanks to you. Letting me rest after the duel really helped me get this score. Kim Ho couldn't even smile. You're overthinking it. Two young men at the back were displeased. What the heck? That coward is now clinging to the higher-ranked people? Yeah, he even quit during the duel test. Hyun-woo was furious, but Kim Ho quickly stopped him. Enough, let it go. Hyun-woo was still upset, but Kim Ho winked. I told you it's fine. He took a deep breath to calm down. All right, if that's your decision. Then they both looked up at the scoreboard. That's it, right? Why haven't Chunhai's scores shown up yet? Kim Ho glanced toward the gate. Not finished yet? Chunhai inside was still fighting enthusiastically. This is nothing. What the hell? I know my power's reduced, but did I only slow them down a little? She suddenly remembered Kim Ho's words. If controlling mana is too hard, when enemies get close, just aim straight for the head and shoot. Now that you mention it, I have to admit his advice kept popping into my head. With limited mana, area skills are ineffective. Then I'll concentrate everything into one massively powerful strike. The system immediately announced. Song Chunhai scored 571 points, top 47%. At that moment, Chunhai stepped out of the gate. Kim Ho's group looked at her for a moment. Oh, she's back. Chunhai bit her lip, face reddening with embarrassment. Why did my score show up in front of everyone? My score's low. How embarrassing. Sudak kept his cold gaze on the students. Today's placement test ends here. Results will be announced tomorrow. Return and rest. All right, dismissed. At this time, in the library. Yes, come in. Teacher Lee Sudak appeared. What's the matter, sir? He said plainly. I want to review the dungeon raid replay of student Kim Ho from class 13. The student was a bit surprised. You're interested in that student? He looked anxious. That's not important. Open the replay for me now. The student panicked. Yes, I'll check. After checking for a while, he reported. The replay of student Kim Ho wasn't saved, so it can't be viewed. Hearing that made him even more anxious. What about the dungeon entry time? Is that recorded in the system? The student checked the logs and gasped. If it's that, let me check the dungeon entry log. Lee Sudak broke into a sweat. Just as I thought, the kid deliberately deleted it. At that rate, he could clearly earn over 2,000 points in 10 minutes with ease. But why is he hiding his true strength? Don't tell me the Satron Academy has as many enemies as allies, from the traces of the Dragon Clan to the disciples of the evil god. If one of them has infiltrated the academy, the wisest course now is to come up with countermeasures immediately. The student asked anxiously, should we report this to the headmaster? Lee Sudak analyzed the situation, then shook his head. No, keep observing for now. If the information leaks without solid evidence, they'll hide even more carefully. Lee Sudak turned and walked away, thinking, if this is a real threat, he'll eventually show his fangs. For now, I'll keep monitoring. Kim Ho's group had arrived at the Satron Academy cafeteria. One coffee, please. I'd really like to try that thing called coffee. Yane returned with her usual sleepy look. I'm going to find a seat. Kim Ho watched her back and thought, looks like it's just the two of us drinking it. They sat and talked. He took out the catalog handed out after class earlier. That thin booklet? Hyun-woo rubbed his head in helplessness, looking at the book. I can't make heads or tails of this. Kim Ho sipped his coffee calmly. That's why I suggested getting coffee. Today we'll only look at the important parts. First, take out your student card. He stared at the thing before him, puzzled. This thing called points wasn't here before? Kim Ho explained gently. The number displayed there is your current points. It's the Academy's currency. You learn it mainly through dungeon raids like the one you just did. You can use it to buy items or access facilities. But there's one especially important use right now. You got a prompt about the replay before you left the dungeon, right? Hyun-woo startled. Yeah, I think I accepted something like that. Kim Ho held out something in his hand. You can repurchase that recording or buy other students' replays. He could hardly believe his eyes. This is Han Somi's dungeon raid replay. Kim Ho added, since you ranked first in the trial, his replay is probably selling fast. He couldn't help but exclaim. The points climbed quickly. But a popular replay isn't necessarily good. Kim Ho sighed in agreement. Right? Others will scrutinize every weakness to find counters. You've already met my. Because this dungeon enforces level-locked zones, you could claim first place. But in duels, especially mana fights, they'll discover how weak your core is. Still, it's worth the points. You can use them to enter the mana training room at the training center. The most important place there is the special training chamber. where the mana density is far higher than normal, so it accelerates internal power development. Hyunwoo got so excited he stood and slammed the table. There's really a place like that? Kim Ho answered casually. Of course, but getting in isn't easy. He calmed down and sat back. It must cost a lot of points, right? Kim Ho confirmed quickly. Exactly, 500 points for 6 hours. He was bewildered. So if I go once a day, Kim Ho closed his eyes and said dismally, then you won't have points left for much else. Hyunwoo deflated with disappointment. No other way? Kim Ho replied with a bright smile. There is the season pass, but it's only for top club members. To get one, you'd have to take Moyong Jun's spot in the Sword Club. He understood his own ability, but said he wasn't ready for that yet. For now, spend points wisely. Kim Ho remained calm. I'll get one for you, as long as you promise to repay me. He probably grew impatient. What do you want me to do? Kim Ho said seriously. Once you get stronger, come with me to the deepest dungeon. Compared to the Mistwood today, that place could be life-threatening. Why do you still want to help me? Hyunwoo showed strong resolve. As a martial artist, I always yearn to become stronger. Now that you've shown me a path, there's no way I'll refuse just because I'm afraid of dying. Of course I'll accept. The two continued their conversation. Good. Now spend your points freely and live in the special training chamber. I'll get the season pass for you within 2 weeks. 2 weeks sounds fine. I'll wait. Meanwhile, Kim Ho had his own business. So, while Go Hyunwoo trains, I'll go take care of my matters. He pushed open the door to workshop 4. Hello. The man studying something asked. Who are you? Kim Ho politely stated his purpose. Greetings, senior. I'm here to inquire about the Arcane Engineering Club. The man, still focused, replied coldly. Why didn't you go workshop 1? Kim Ho answered. I did go. They told me to come to workshop 4 first. He looked displeased. Honestly, then make it quick. I'm busy, don't bother me. Kim Ho smiled, having achieved his goal. Thanks, I'll just take a quick look. Skill. Arcane Engineering Tech is probably B rank, right? Using replication? First objective completed. Now, on to the next objective. Maybe it's around here? Found it. He picked up the cube and feigned innocence. Hey, senior, does this look valuable? The man looked over, indifferent. The 10 by 10 by 10 cube design, huh? It's been hyped unrealistically, but no one has successfully used it. It's just a shell. Though he wanted to reveal it, Kim Ho held back and politely said, I find it quite interesting. If no one needs it, may I take it? But I feel odd taking it for free, so I'll trade you this instead. The other guy also took notice of the item. Thermal catalyst solution isn't remarkable, but in arcane engineering, it's never enough. He accepted the item casually. Just this once, and don't tell anyone. Kim Ho was overjoyed. Thank you, senior. He held the item with delight. Great, save me 1,000 points. Kim Ho glanced back, smiling inwardly. Well, he just sold a shell for 1,000 points, so of course he's happy. But is it really a shell? The system also triggered a side quest alert for the mysterious cube. You have discovered an exceptionally special design in the Arcane Engineering Workshop. Objective, inspect the design. Reward, unlock a quest chain. Kim Ho lightly tapped the system panel, silently scoffing. These quests are trash. Completing that pile would take at least a year. Who has time for these? The final reward of that quest chain is an S-rank item, the Life Cube. He entered the training room, having trained countless S-rank heroes in the past. He already knew how to manufacture it without doing the quests. Let's begin. He began rotating the cube, then removed one slot. At this pace, it will probably take about 3 days to finish. A minute passed surprisingly quickly. When the skills rank drops, I won't be able to edit the cube. Until then, I'll meditate to refine my core. So 1 hour of meditation equals 1 minute of cube editing. That event will begin on the first Friday. So I must complete the Life Cube before then. Morning rays shone over the school. It's morning, time to go to class. When he entered the classroom, Yane was already sitting there. Hello? You came early? She answered simply as always. Yeah, I woke up early. While he was lost in thought about whether Go Hyunwoo had arrived, Yane tugged him Ho's sleeve. Huh? She handed him a bag, nonchalantly saying, Here, some cookies. He was pleased by the gift. For me? Thanks. Dinosaur-shaped cookies? That's so cool. Go Hyunwoo had also arrived in class. Kim Ho called, Yane, good morning. Yane puffed her cheeks in mock anger. It's a bear shape. Kim Ho, having just seen his friend, asked, You're here? How did you find the special training chamber? You can see the sparkle in his eyes. It's the first time I've seen internal power increase so fast. Just a bit more effort, and I'll break through. The two continued chatting happily. Good. I'll try to get the season pass for you as soon as possible. Thanks. At that moment, Bayok also entered the classroom. Silence. Everyone, return to your seats. Before we begin class, I have an announcement. Starting today, we'll hold matches in the arena. The time limit will increase to 10 minutes, so prepare your strategies carefully. All first-year students must participate in at least 3 matches this week. If you try to skip, points will be deducted. That's all. Kim Ho looked very pleased. So it's starting. This time I definitely have to win. He slapped Hyunwoo on the shoulder, full of excitement. Let's go to the arena. The replays of the first day's matches will sell best. Just then, Yang grabbed his sleeve. Okay, then let's go. Kim Ho was startled by the action. I'm free today. Students around reacted like they'd been struck by lightning. Huh? What? Even he was confused. You mean the mana bullet practice we discussed before, right? You want to train today? Yang nodded without hesitation. Yeah. Kim Ho smiled and replied. Fine. See you later then. Yang nodded again. Okay. They were present that afternoon at the arena. As soon as Kim Ho stepped out, everyone took notice. That name. 2 people in the stands were murmuring about him. Do you know him? He's the one who forfeited against Song Chunhai, right? So he's the coward everyone's been whispering about? Hyunwoo couldn't stand it and spoke up. Don't you think it's rude to say that right in front of him? That's too much. Kim Ho acted very friendly. How did you do on the placement test? I got 300 points. How about you? Yang Ji-hong answered, then tasted bitterness. Also 300 points, what the... So you're tied in points with a coward? A weakling like you think you're on my level? If I hadn't met Song Chunhai in the second match. Kim Ho didn't shout, but his words were cutting. Song Chunhai? Right, you're the one who got struck by lightning and had to be carried out, aren't you? He ground his teeth in anger. What a coincidence, huh? We're tied in points. Come down here, coward. I'll show you the real gap between us. The two stood facing each other. Yang Ji-hong took a stance with an angry face. I'll finish you with 1 strike. Kim Ho remained calm. Fine, let's end this quickly. He grabbed his spear and lunged forward to attack. Kim Ho didn't move a muscle. Looks like you're not very smart either. Just as he rushed in, he was paralyzed by a thunderbird. What the hell is this? Kim Ho remained expressionless and raised his staff. Sorry, I probably can't finish it in 1 blow, like Song Chunhai. Ji-hong was now terrified. Wait. Along with the scream came the system announcement. Yang Ji-hong lost, and Kim Ho won. Kim Ho couldn't help but chuckle. Looks like this coward actually won. He was still very bitter. I just slipped up a bit. Rematch. This time I'll definitely win. Kim Ho was of course ready. Oh yeah? Then let's fight. He shouted as if to bolster himself. This won't be easy this time. Start. The scoreboard remained the same. Yang Ji-hong lost, and Kim Ho won. He looked at his opponent lying flat and felt annoyed for him. Why you still know better? Yang Ji-hong lay face down, helpless. Damn it, this time I'll win for sure. Cut me some slack. Kim Ho coldly turned and walked away. I'm tired. This ends here. He glanced at the system panel, thinking to himself. Anyway, I need to finish 3 matches, but for now I'll pretend I don't want to. Oh, and if you want, I can teach you. But you'll need to pay tuition first. Di-hong looked at him with eyes like bullets. This money-hungry guy. This is a spirit pill made by my clan. I'll give it to you, okay? Kim Ho studied the item in front of him. Sounds good. But there's one more condition. No replay saved, and no one must know about it. He agreed. Fine. Anyway, it wouldn't be good if this got out. He happily accepted the item. All right, since I've received the tuition, I'll spar with you until you're satisfied. No matter how many matches they went through, the result didn't change. So that's enough, right? Well done. Yang Ji-hong, beaten until he had bruises, learned to behave. Wait, I want to apologize for my rude behavior. I judged you too quickly from one side. You're not a coward. Kim Ho didn't overthink it. No, for now, let me be the coward. He was quite surprised by that line. Leave it like that? Kim Ho didn't dwell on it. No, now I get it. I won't ask more. After all, I can't be the only one who suffers, right? Kim Ho reunited with his friend. Hyunwoo, I'm done. How about you? He looked equally excited. I've won 2 matches. I'll finish the 3rd match before heading home. You go ahead. Kim Ho also parted from his friend here. All right, good luck. Kim Ho moved to the second practice in the mana training room. Have you been waiting long? Sit here. Dain remained expressionless. Okay. They sat cross-legged, facing each other. Now we'll begin special lesson 1 on mana bullets. First, try creating a bullet. He looked at what she created in surprise. Unbelievable. With such a simple block of mana, she can stand toe-to-toe with Song Chunhai. Kim Ho also began the lesson. Today, we'll learn allocation. Step 1 is controlling the amount of mana per bullet. Step 2 is Yane aiming the gun directly at the opponent. Kim Ho created a protective layer around himself, a sniper hidden by a cloaking cloak. Then I'll use the terrain to hide. If you're so good, search all these sand dunes. But in Yane's eyes, the abnormal mana flow between the dunes was clearly visible. Guak Jichel felt extremely confident. Even if she destroys everything, she still won't be able to pierce my shield. At that moment, a bullet pierced right through him. I have nothing to fear from a sniper who couldn't even pierce Song Chunhai's shield. What the hell? Yane on this side also smiled. He'd lost all his confidence now. Come on. Sudak analyzed Kim Ho's abilities. The Thunderbird's movements are strange. His control is truly excellent. The second match was the same. He was completely toying with his opponent. But that wasn't the only thing worth noting. Then he began analyzing Yane. In CO Yane's placement test, the mana bullet was just a raw lump of mana. Yet in today's video, it had become a complete mana bullet. Could someone change that much in just 2 days? He also saw the conversation between the two. You mean the mana bullet training we talked about before? You want to train today? Fine. See you later. Sudak looked furious. That brat again. Kim Ho, who exactly is that guy? At the same time, he was examining the cube. The cube began to change. Done. Finally complete. Life Cube B. Increases the effectiveness of stored life system items by 1.3 times. A lot happened. Skill levels rose after the quest, and I finished just in time. Also, I raised my meridian to D through meditation, so using skills used to cost a huge amount of mana. Now I can breathe a bit easier. Of course, the spirit pill helped with that too. So all preparations were complete. Time to do a little promotion, right? Kim Ho saw Nari walking past. Lucky timing. Met the person I needed to meet. Promising talent of the Guild Alliance. Nari Book, sorry, but I need to ask you a favor. Her cat immediately reacted to the cube. Animals are very sensitive to life force. None passed by here without responding. Nari was terrified by her cat's behavior. What's going on? This was exactly what Kim Ho wanted. Just as I predicted, Nari reached out to call the cat back. I'm sorry, I'll take it away right now. Booma. No, get away from there. Kim Ho looked at the girl. Sure enough, a druid. It seems she sensed the life force. Time to act a little. Kim Ho pretended to be out of breath. I'm in a bit of a hurry. So could you take it away? Nari cradled the cat, clinging to the cube. Yes, I'm so sorry. I don't know why it's acting so strange today. Hey, you're in class 3, right? He was slightly startled and answered, yeah, that's right. Nari still felt a bit uneasy. Anyway, sorry about earlier. Kim Ho was pleased. So the news will reach the Nature Club. I'll get the season pass soon. Now for the part I've been waiting for. The teacher is lecturing about situations students might face. The clash between goblins and swordsmen. Page 76. Kim Ho sat counting the seconds. 1 minute until lunch break. 59 seconds. The teacher closed the book and announced, class dismissed. 32 seconds, 0 seconds. Byung Chul stretched to relieve his fatigue. Finally done. Huh? What was that? A crimson burst of power attacked them. The group still didn't understand what was happening. What the? Is nothing happening? He was still in shock. What was that orb just now? A barrier? That's terrifying. Everyone began pointing at each other. Hey, what's that number on your forehead? You have one too. An impromptu inspection had begun at the Forbidden Dragon Slaying Wave Academy. The academy will use a special magnetic field to detect banned items and list unsuitable items for students on a prohibited list. This wave will target students who possess banned items. Kim Ho was sweating, thinking, so it's begun? That sound is terrifying. That must be Joe Box. Hyunwoo was fairly calm about it. Interesting. He exhaled and looked at his two friends. These two hadn't been affected from start. The problem was Byung Chul, who was extremely upset. Damn it, what the hell is going on? Kim Ho stepped up to him and said, Hey, didn't your club advisor say there would be an inspection? Byung Chul still resentful. Well, yes, but not like this. I am screwed. What do we do now? If I'm caught with all this, I'm done for. Kim Ho quickly took advantage. Need help? He was still teary-eyed. Huh? From you? He pretended to be offended and walked off. Fine, never mind. The boy grabbed his sleeve in a panic. No, I do. Please save me. I'll do whatever you want. Kim Ho looked at him meaningfully. Then you owe me a favor. Byung Chul bowed and shouted. Of course. Kim Ho pulled out his cube. Put all the banned items in here. Prioritize small, high-value ones first. He was still suspicious. If I put them in, will anything happen to them? Kim Ho urged. There's no time to explain. Believe it or not, just put them in. Listen to the footsteps. They're coming. Byung Chul's spirits soared. I'm putting them in right now. The discipline team appeared, looking stern. Everyone stand still. You two over there, where you two hiding? Kim Ho immediately stood up to explain. We were just resting a bit. Chun-Hai looked very suspicious. Is that so? Byung Chul jumped in to back him up. Seriously, we were just taking a break. She glared at him irritably. Fine, hand over all banned items. I don't know how you two avoided the prohibition wave, but comply. This crystal orb won't miss any cheating. She was surprised to see he was unaffected. Impossible. It should have reacted. He calmly asked, can I go now? Chun-Hai, though annoyed, had no choice. Fine, go back to your seat. He sat down gently, thinking, that's why I want to finish before Friday. An item could bypass the prohibition wave. Wait, if anyone knew its true value, they'd be drooling. All right, time to trade. Byung Chul looked at him gratefully. Thank you so much. Without you, that stuff would have been lost, and I'd be finished, or worse. He winked at him. I'll collect my debt later. For now, consider yourself owing me. Byung Chul pounded his chest to show, of course, I would never stiff you. The two chatted cheerfully. Let's go to your club to open these banned items. Fine, the club leader's waiting to see you. From trading banned items to causing chaos everywhere, they were the Academy's troublemakers, the Thieves' Club. He poked his head in and spoke politely. Sis, we're here. The girl in the room was annoyed with him. I told you to be careful this week. Did you even listen? Didn't I tell you this was important? He just clutched his head and took it. I'm sorry. Please don't hit me. Kim Ho nodded slightly and bowed to the girl. Hello, senior. I'm Kim Ho. The girl stopped, turned to him politely, and said, I'm Dang Young. You probably know me already. I'm the club advisor. I've heard about what happened today from this guy. You have an item that can bypass the prohibition wave, right? Let me see it. Kim Ho gladly handed it over without hesitation. She couldn't help but exclaim, it's real. Honestly, I was skeptical earlier. But an item that can deceiving the prohibition wave? It almost made me want to steal it on the spot. Kim Ho said calmly but pointedly, if you steal it, you'll get caught right away. How could the leader of the Thieves' Club not know about the anti-theft system for magical items? Young pouted and turned away. Wait, this is a magical item? Anyway, you came here because you need something, right? Kim Ho replied quickly. I knew you'd spot it. She pointed around with a sigh. As you can see, our club is out of funds. There's nothing valuable to trade. But what you want isn't like that. Don't worry. This is something we can handle. She grew curious. Tell me, what is it? Kim Ho stated his request without hesitation. It's about the temporary storage vault. I want to go with you. Young looked displeased. What are you plotting? The temporary storage vault is where confiscated items taken by the prohibition wave are kept before being destroyed. Usually inspections finish by the weekend, and then banned items are moved to a secret warehouse no one knows about. However, I guess you'll go tonight or tomorrow night. She grew suspicious of his motive. Answer me. Did the discipline committee send you? He immediately denied it. What? No way. I'm not close with them. Just assume there's something I need in there. Young had her own rules. Thanks for helping, but don't expect to hitch a free ride. We prepared everything, so you can't just jump in and profit. Kim Ho placed his hand on the cube and said plainly, the temporary storage vault will be guarded by the discipline committee, right? Sneaking in is hard, but getting out after is even harder. But what if I handle the escape? Then surely it's worth a spot on the trip, isn't it? That moved her a little. Come to think of it, if we transfer the important items into that cube. He jumped in immediately. It's basically guaranteed to get them out. She would never refuse this. So, let me join, okay? The whole group watched from a distance. Young was the first to speak. Is everyone here? Young was the first to speak. Is everyone here? But who is that? She pointed at Kim Ho and introduced him. We'll have a new member assisting this mission. Everyone, greet him. They immediately showed distrust. Letting a newcomer join such an important mission? Is that okay? Can we trust him? Byung Chul rushed forward and winked reassuringly. Ah, nice to meet you. Don't mind them. Let's cooperate well. A girl was studying the map, then announced, Senior, 1 minute left. Young has assigned everyone. Okay, Davin will handle outside support. The rest, get ready. She turned to remind him. Try to be as discreet as possible. Once inside, prioritize taking small, rare items first. Everyone started running off. All right, let's move out. Kim Ho looked at the girl, appraising, fearing stealth? Since the life cube is complete, I probably won't need to use magic technique for now. Kim Ho touched Gyung and used copy skill. Stealth B has been stored. Copied skill 22 to 1. Thunderbird E, 2 B-rank magic techniques, Stealth B. Your footsteps will become faster and quieter. At that moment, he also noticed something strange. There were several butterflies flying around, one of which landed on his shoulder. Why are there butterflies here all of a sudden? Then he was attacked. Butterfly illusion. What the hell is this? He was subdued by Gyung's people. One of them had broken into the old building's 3rd floor. This is troublesome. How many anti-theft wards did they set up? A student from the discipline group had discovered someone. The guy frowned. Damn, what rotten luck. The student immediately warned. There's an intruder. But that guy was restrained. Byung-chul warned the student friend. The more you struggle, the worse it'll be. Gyung shouted a reminder to everyone. The temporary storage vault is around that corner. For now, check the situation before breaking in. She held up a mirror to inspect. In the image, Zan was seriously guarding the door. Damn, of all people, why does he have to be on guard? Alone, I'd have a hard time dealing with him. Kim Ho also glimpsed that figure and thought. A 3rd year with an A-rank halberd? The death court. Gyung won't get past him easily. I plan to be quiet, but I guess I'll have to step in. He whispered to Guang. Senior, you know how to use Butterfly Dream, right? She was surprised by the question. How did you know about that? Kim Ho brushed it off. No time to explain. You know how to use it, right? Guang frowned slightly. But I'm not very skilled. It's only C rank. Kim Ho decided to give her some power. That should be enough. Her skill rose from C rank to A rank. Gyung couldn't believe her eyes. What? How did you do that? Kim Ho pointed and urged her. There's no time, go now. Gyung scowled at him, puzzled. Who exactly is he? But she quickly set aside her doubts and cast the technique. Butterfly Dream. Sun also noticed something amiss. Damn, an intruder? He quickly swung his weapon at the butterflies. But there were still many of them. 2 people hiding in a corner, seeing Zing getting entangled, also broke into a sweat. Just one move, and he took down that axe-wielding guy. That's A-rank power for sure. Gyung turned to remind him. Hey, we'll talk in private later. Finish the mission first. Everyone grab what you need and withdraw. The 2 boys responded promptly. Kim Ho held the cube and thought. Now it's time to pick items. At Sat Long Academy, an item is banned because of its side effects. If it harms the body or mind, it gets listed as prohibited. Among them, I need items banned for elemental punishment, punitive thunderstones, paralysis. With S-element resistance, I can neutralize those penalties. That should be enough gear, right? Now to find some skill books. After all, skills with elemental penalties tend to be powerful. Let's see. There's bound to be something useful. He was rather surprised at himself to find it here. He lacked combat skills, so just in case, he'll learn this one. Sung Jae stepped in, his voice very calm. Working this late at night, you all must be very diligent. At Sat Long Academy, student council president and 3rd-year Song Chun-ki was also present. It's only the start of the term, and already stealing? Guak Sung Jae found himself in a dilemma. The student council president is backing the discipline committee? That's overkill. And now, with President Song Chun-ki involved. He said to them seriously, that's enough talk. Drop everything and come with us to the disciplinary office. But she was still trying to find a way. The longer it dragged on, the harder it'd be for us to get away. In that case, everyone run. They were all cloaked by shadow ground, forming a dome of darkness to hide their allies. 5 minutes of effect, the dark shapes immediately dashed off. Guak Sung Jae looked into his calm orb and said to others, the intruders have left the temporary vault. Make sure no one escapes. Understood? Kim Ho was sprinting over here very fast, when something flashed by and slammed into the wall beside him. Guak Sung Jae appeared right behind. Dodge that? Not bad. He was surprised by the appearance. Whoa, where did this guy get here? There was something dangerous about his face. I'm pretty familiar with the Thieves' Club, but I've never met you. Are you a new student? Not answering to hide your voice. Clever. Looks like you don't intend to surrender. He struck, and the other struck back. He was shocked, but furious. Thunderbird? Useless. Their techniques collided with a thunderous impact. Guak Sung Jae struggled in the fight, thinking, I've never seen control like this. If I hadn't set up defensive magic in advance, I'd have been taken down. Kim Ho quickly dashed past, making Sung Jae flinch. For a new student, you're not bad. But there won't be a second time. A row of gun muzzles pointed straight at him. Sung Jae shouted, End it. A volley of bullets fired straight at him, his gaze filled with confidence. This arrogant brat. No one has survived that strike. Suddenly, the temperature rose. Huh? What's this? Why is it so hot? Kim Ho decided to use a counter skill. Sung Jae immediately recognized the skill. Could it be? Could it be? Sung Jae forced out a triple-layer stone wall technique in response, thinking to himself that it must be a forbidden skill. Only a madman would dare use it. Damn. But at that moment Kim Ho had already taken a stance, and a fire punch was launched instantly, punching through Sung Jae's stone wall. Kim Ho looked surprised, staring at his fist and muttering that it was harder to control than he'd thought. A power like this really isn't easy to manage. He told himself quietly that luckily no one was seriously hurt, so the academy probably wouldn't intervene. But Sung Jae belonged to the Emerald Tower, and the disciplinary committee would definitely get involved. They'd tear everything apart to find out who caused the fuss. What a pain. But they wouldn't find anything anyway. Just then a loud voice came from the corridor behind them. This way, I heard a big noise over there. Kim Ho flinched and looked over. Damn it, better get out of here before we're caught. No sooner had he left than Chun Hai rushed in with others, panic-stricken, calling, Senior, take him to the infirmary quickly. A while later, in the disciplinary committee's truth room, Dang Young sat in a chair and shouted angrily, How much longer are you keeping me? Deduct the points and let me go home. Song Chun Ki, not wanting to say more, turned and left. My part's done. I'm leaving. I'm tired of this kind of thing too. Oh Se-hoon forced a smile. All right, fine, look through these first. Cooperate, and you'll be allowed to go home early. He handed her a stack of papers. This was Discipline Chief Oh Se-hoon. She took the stack, puzzled, thinking, what is this? She thought to herself that he had an eye for picks, small items, but expensive. Across from her, he continued, Gyung, you know about this, right? I don't know how you lot do it, but the Academy's lost too many items this time. Dang Young shrugged. Who knows? This is the first time I've seen these things. Oh Se-hoon warned helplessly that if she kept denying it, everyone would share responsibility. Hearing that, she resigned herself. Okay, fine, I'll take the blame. Oh Se-hoon could finally breathe a sigh of relief. The official punishment would start tomorrow. Dang Young happily left, even winking as she went. All right, I'm off. As she stepped outside, people hurried up anxiously. Are you okay? What about the punishment? She replied cheerfully. Thanks, everyone. Let's talk more back at the club room. Wait, why are there only 4 people? Where's the 5th? Chun Hai exhaled in annoyance. Playing innocent until the last minute? Bold, aren't they? Dang Young still looked puzzled. What? Why make a fuss all of a sudden? Chun Hai couldn't hold back and shouted, Your club member used a fire punch. Senior Guak Sung Jae is in the infirmary. This almost caused a major accident. At that, her smile immediately faltered. What? Sung Jae got taken down too? She thought, and fire punch? Back in the room, Dang Young's alarmed voice rang out. Hey, Kim Ho, are your hands okay? Huh? No marks at all? But didn't you use a fire punch? He smiled, twisting his wrist a few times. I wouldn't use it without a safe plan. Zhang Guiung Fawen Hao. So that's how it was. He'd calculated it carefully. All right, what about the other items? He answered and immediately summoned them. Here they are. At the sight of them, Dang Young's eyes lit up. She smiled until she was practically drooling. Oh my god, they're so pretty. Why are the colors so beautiful? It turned out the box held countless glittering props. Kim Ho opened the box and asked, So that settles the bet, right? She replied, What a sweet deal. Hearing that, Kim Ho immediately turned to leave. I'll be going then. But she quickly called back. Hey, wait. Kim Ho, do you want to join our club? I won't treat you badly, she said. He smiled and asked, Is this an invitation? At that, Dang Young, unabashed, pointed at him and said, I've been watching you. That arrogance and greed. It's obvious you're a true people's path extractor. He could only force a smile at that remark. Was this an enticement or mockery? Anyway, I refuse. Dang Young sprang to her feet and blurted. Huh? Why? He held the box out toward her and asked, You invited me because of this life cube? Yes, I was planning to sell it. On hearing that, she froze. What? He explained, I need season tickets for the special training room. About 4 of them. Dang Young's mouth twitched repeatedly. For tickets, just to dodge the forbidden wave, pretty pricey. Min-ho replied casually, avoiding the forbidden wave is secondary. The main function is what makes it valuable. She grew curious. What's the main function? He said, I'll show you the item's description, but in return I need you to do me a favor. Zhang Guiung Fidao Wen. Oh god, what condition now? Say it. Kim Ho kept smiling confidently. Just send a message to the head of the Magic Engineering Club saying a first year has completed a level 10 cube. Dang Young nodded. That's easy. All right, show me the item description. A moment later she exclaimed, what? It increases stored life system item effectiveness by 1.3 times? Is an item like this real? It turned out to be a Life Cube B, boosting the effectiveness of stored life system items by 1.3 times. Dang Young stroked her chin, admitting it matched the price he demanded. Kim Ho grinned, so that's enough? He was about to leave when she added, Kim Ho, even if you don't want this, my invitation still stands. So think it over carefully. Kim Ho sighed helplessly, but replied politely, yes, senior. A few days later on the Satlong Academy grounds, as they prepared for class, Kim Ho turned to Seo Yain and asked, how was your weekend? She wearily answered, SOSO. He asked again, SOSO how? You look exhausted this Monday morning? Just then he sensed something amiss and glanced back, thinking, huh? Is someone tailing us? Probably someone from the Emerald Tower or the Nature Club. Whatever, but this could get troublesome. Maybe I should deal with them first. He then said, Seo Yain, you go on ahead. I got a little covert matter. I'll catch up right after I'm done. Looking back, the two, Dong Suji and Guak Jichul, were still following. Scene quickly agreed. Then Kim Ho turned back and bluntly asked them, hey, you two who've been following me, what do you want? If there's something, spit it out. Jichul sighed and gave a wry smile. Good. That'll save both sides of trouble. We're from the Emerald Tower. Does that answer your question? Dong Suhi looked a bit surprised. You're that blunt? Then she forced a smile and said, our captain wants to meet you. Please come with us. Kim Ho replied firmly, I have nothing to do with the Emerald Tower. If they have business, let them come find me themselves. Jichul interjected, words are useless. These kinds only understand a fist. Kim Ho answered coldly, I tend to agree. Immediately after, a thunderbird suddenly shot toward him from nowhere. With a whoosh, he was knocked out by Kim Ho. Dong Suji, standing beside him, gasped in surprise. Thunderbird. Kim Ho then extended his hand toward them, frowning. If you want to fight, get on with it. I don't have time to play with you. Dong Suji hurriedly backed down with a conciliatory smile. Oh no, sorry for the bother. She thought to herself that controlling a thunderbird like that was definitely a pro's skill. Best not to get involved in unnecessary trouble. She sat down beside Jichul and said, I'll take this guy back. You go on ahead. Kim Ho immediately turned and left, coolly remarking, glad there's still someone reasonable. As they helped their friend up, Dong Suji asked, so the rumor that he's a coward was wrong, right? Jichul clutched his chest, stood up, and shouted angrily, what's wrong with wrong? That guy just got lucky with one hit. Next time I'll definitely. Before he could finish, a bullet came flying from behind. Dong Suji spun around in horror. Sniper fire? Where did that come from? But another bullet was aimed straight at her head. She was shot and toppled backward, furious and humiliated. Why me too? In the end, both of them were driven flat on their backs. Inside the classroom, the professor's steady voice explained that the dungeon was designed complexly to drain your resources before reaching the core. If you used everything beforehand, the raid would surely fail. Kim Ho then turned to Seo Yain, who had just arrived, and asked, why did you leave before me, but arrive after me? Where did you just go? Seeing she didn't answer, he turned back to listen. So this raid is a race against time. You may practice in the dungeon as many times as you like. However, the official result counts only once. To succeed, you must reach the relic and destroy it within 5 minutes. Therefore, it's best to find the optimal route during practice before the timed run. The teacher was lecturing about the Goblin Swamp map, the 5-minute time limit, and 1- or 2-person dungeons. All right, that's the end of today's lesson. Hearing that, Shin Byung-chul perked up and cheerfully suggested, hey Go Hyunwoo, go into the dungeon 2-player with me. Go Hyunwoo was a bit surprised and stammered, with you? Kim Ho waved him off. It's fine, you two go ahead. Hearing that, Go Hyunwoo awkwardly said, if Kim Ho says so, I'll go with Shin. Kim Ho thought to himself, good, so I'll be going with. Before he could finish, Seo Yain turned and said, go with me. A short while later, in another room, Jichul was pinned against a bookshelf as an angry voice thundered, how humiliating. Your brother, a member of the disciplinary committee, was defeated by a thief? You two have really brought shame on me. Didn't you say that guy was just a coward? And now you're saying even with a bunch of help he couldn't beat you? Pathetic. Saying that, he turned and tossed Jichul to the floor. He went back to his seat, sighed as he sat, I had a bad feeling from the start. The person beside him added, anyway, we should meet him once, right? She's Ha Suyin, head of the Nature Club of the Guild Alliance, and the one beside her is Bak Yunghua of the Emerald Tower. He replied seriously, that must be it. Because of that guy, the Emerald Tower's reputation has sunk to the bottom. That mysterious box he owns won't fix this. He must pay for belittling us. Jichul tried to get up, trembling as he said, I'll make amends for this. But Bak Yunghua coldly asked back, who gave you the right to speak here? Jichul hurriedly defended himself. I only meant to touch him then. Give me one more chance. The atmosphere around Bak Yunghua suddenly turned grim. He lowered his voice. If you lose again, you'll get the hell out of this club. Do you still want a chance? Jichul, hearing that, hurriedly seized the opportunity. Of course, I believe I can do it. Hearing that, he replied, fine, I'll lend you my golem. This time you must beat him decisively. Jichul immediately bowed respectfully. I will definitely win. A moment later in the Goblin Swamp, Kim Ho accelerated and told Seo Yain, this is just practice, no need to rush. She responded, okay. He mentally calculated that to get the best rewards for both solo and duo dungeons, he had to complete both within 1 minute. Beside him was a notice board reading, Week 2 Strategic Match Side Quest. Objective, complete strategic dungeon, solo dungeon, duo dungeon. Final boss, Sunday midnight. Rewards depend on remaining time. Looking at the scene ahead, Kim Ho told himself the solo dungeon should be fine, but the problem was the duo dungeon. If I tell her the attack rules, it would be very easy, but then she wouldn't grow. I need to let her learn on her own through practice mode. At that moment, a powerful goblin executioner appeared before them. He immediately braked abruptly, then turned to ask Seo Yain, do we dodge it like the first practice, or try to take it down? She looked at the goblin for a moment and asked, if I take it down, will I get extra time, right? He answered, the elite monster grants an extra 120 seconds. Hearing that, Seo Yain grew confident and replied, then I'll try to take it down. Immediately, she began to act. Kim Ho added, okay, I'll support you. Then he unleashed the Thunderbird skill toward the goblin. But unfortunately, it swatted the attack aside and deflected the strike. Yet in the blink of an eye, Seo Yain appeared right beside the beast and quickly fired a shot at the monster. But it was unharmed, its face turning even more vicious. It spun to gain momentum and lunged quickly toward them. Then charged rapidly at them. She froze briefly, but very quickly regained the initiative. At that moment, someone used a buff. A hand reached out with a steel voice command, not on my watch. The EC Thunderbird zipped a few times. The monster was knocked off balance, and the one who used that move was none other than Kim Ho. Then Seo Yain once again took a precise aim, and the info board immediately popped up. Remaining time 18 seconds, goblins defeated 2, elite monsters defeated 120. Total remaining time 2 minutes 29 seconds, 149 points. Completion reward 500 points. Total 649 points. Kim Ho looked at the notice board and told Seo Yain, we've shortened the time compared to our first run. Do better next time. She replied with a sound. Yeah. Hey, can you teach me one more session on mana bullets? Kim Ho smiled and exhaled. He thought to himself that she really had a competitive spirit. Struggling with the elite monster had apparently bruised her pride. He also suggested, let's stop practicing and go to the training center. She replied, okay, sounds good. After a while, the scene shifted to the shooting range at the training center. Kim Ho's voice rang out. Today I'll teach a skill called propulsion. Your mana bullets and gun are both perfect right now, but you're still using them merely as tools. Let me demonstrate to make it easier to understand. Imagine your hand is a magic gun. Then concentrate mana and release it exactly when you snap your fingers. That's the basics of propulsion. It's pretty similar to creating mana bullets. Try with your hand first. All right, first, focus mana at your fingertip. Seo Yain immediately followed his instruction. He spoke again. Before he could finish, a bullet flew back and straight at his head. Kim Ho forced a smile. Why did it fire back? Now try again without using a mana bullet. As long as you can propel the mana outward, it's considered success. Keep practicing like that. I'll go buy some things for dinner. Hearing that, Seo Yain immediately spoke up. Wait, hold on. He turned back with a soft sound. Seo Yain held out a card to him and said to use this. Kim Ho's movement froze. A black card, definitely a rich girl's. Down in the cafeteria, he ordered a small donut and sat at a nearby table. Chun-Hai was happily chatting with a friend. Indeed, it was a limited edition. Han Somi laughed in response. Yes, the wait was worth it. And when she saw him, she cheerfully called out, "Hi there." Chun-Hai immediately turned and asked, "Is someone there?" Kim Ho politely waved back. "Hello." When Chun-Hai got a clear look at him, she visibly recoiled. She snarled, "Why is it him?" But then thought it might be fine. She had something she needed to confirm. She jumped up and said, "Sorry, but can I see your hand for a moment?" Kim Ho looked a bit puzzled. "Why suddenly check my hand?" Chun-Hai silently analyzed. The mysterious thief used fire fists in the temporary storage. Someone capable of professionally handling a Thunderbird, with connections to the thieves' club members. Chances are it's him. She smiled and said it was like reading palms. She wanted to check something subtle. Inwardly, she guessed that if he had used fire fist, there would surely be burn marks on his hand. Kim Ho on the other side looked surprised. "I didn't expect you to read palms." Chun-Hai smiled confidently. As predicted, he looked worried. She asked, "Aren't you going to show them? Any reason?" But contrary to her expectation, Kim Ho extended his hand and replied nonchalantly, "Here, take a look. See?" She blinked in surprise. "I want to see the other hand too." Kim Ho immediately offered it. "The other hand as well?" "You're thorough." Chun-Hai's heart fluttered. "No way. How is it normal?" After a while, Kim Ho had to speak up. "Can you let go of my hand now? How long do I have to do this?" Realizing she'd been awkward, Chun-Hai turned away and said loudly, "I'm sorry for bothering you." But Kim Ho said, "Wait, you have to tell me the palm reading result." "What? Do I have romantic luck?" Chun-Hai turned back, annoyed, and said loudly, "You're going to face a lot of difficulties ahead." "A lot." Then Hung Ho left. Kim Ho watched her leave and couldn't help smiling inwardly. It seemed they were still looking for the culprit in the temporary storage case, but for now, he was fine. The next day, Kim Ho trained with Seo Yin again. He called out, "Do it like we practiced blowing." She replied, "Okay, get into position." Seo Yin then drew her gun and fired a few shots. The goblin, of course, couldn't dodge and took the hits. Another one was worse, getting shot straight in the jaw. And finally, they chased down the goblin leader. Boom! Unexpectedly, Seo Yin's bullet shattered the goblin's blade. The notice immediately popped up. Remaining time, 1 minute 20 seconds. Goblins defeated 28. Elites defeated 120. Total remaining time, 3 minutes 48 seconds. 228 points. Completion reward, 500 points. Total, 728 points. The two of them happily high-fived. Kim Ho turned and smiled. "Well done. It seems we've reaped the rewards of yesterday's practice, huh?" But seeing Seo Yin's radiant face, Kim Ho couldn't hide his surprise. "Is she smiling?" But seeing Seo Yin's radiant face, Kim Ho couldn't hide his surprise. "Is she smiling?" But to be safe, try practice mode a few times before entering. She replied, "Okay." Watching the girl walk away slowly, Kim Ho gave a slight smile. "Since I cleared the hill dungeon, I should be able to handle it myself now. Finally, I can focus on my own mission." Shortly after, a notification appeared that he was entering the Goblin Swamp. Quickly, he passed through the teleport gate into the arena. As he stepped inside, Kim Ho couldn't hide his excitement. "All right, let's clear this place fast." Immediately, he took a fighting stance, then launched a straight strike forward. The monsters that couldn't dodge were swallowed by his flames. In no time, the path ahead had been cleared by. Kim Ho forced a grin, thinking that although it was a simulated dungeon, he might have gone a bit overboard. Indeed, controlling the power of this skill was really difficult. Maybe I should delete the replay before leaving. Beside him now was a notice board that read, "Remaining time, 4 minutes, 42 seconds. Goblins defeated 71. Elites defeated 120. Total remaining time, 7 minutes, 28 seconds, 448 points. Completion reward, 500 points. Total, 948 points." Looking at the total score, Kim Ho thought to himself that since he had defeated an elite and gained bonus points, the reward was the best kind anyway. Then the system announced the side quest, Week 2 Strategic Match completed, Objective Complete Dungeons. Solo Dungeon, remaining time, 7 minutes 28 seconds out of 5 minutes. Duo Dungeon, remaining time, 3 minutes 48 seconds out of 5 minutes. Rewards will be upgraded. Please choose your reward. Prosperity Seed increases effectiveness for healing and enhancement skills. Illusionist increases effectiveness for debuff and illusion skills. West Wind Blessing increases effectiveness for wind element skills. Kim Ho selected the quest, thinking there was no need to overthink it. From the start, I accepted this quest aiming for this trait. This trait is perfect for the path I plan to take. A support who is both strong and useful in a support role. Immediately, the system notified that the West Wind Blessing trait had been acquired. Kim Ho inwardly affirmed that he would now be a wind element support. Soon after, he stepped through the spatial gate. At that moment, a voice rang out. "You're Kim Ho, right?" "I am Ma Kyung-hwa, representative of the Emerald Tower." The person beside her also spoke up. "I am Ha Suyin, head of the Nature Club. Could we go somewhere to talk for a moment?" At the cafe, she immediately bowed. "First, I want to apologize for what happened before." Kim Ho politely replied, "I was also rude because I was in a hurry. Please accept my apology." She continued, "Anyway, I heard you have a special item, right?" He answered, "I guess you too came because of it." She then suggested, "Could we see the item with our own eyes?" Kim Ho immediately took out the cube and replied cheerfully. Of course, at that moment, a spirit tiger suddenly appeared and quickly leaped into the cube. Its owner saw this and urgently called out, "Buma, no, you can't." Ma Kyung-hwa watched in amazement. "So it's real." The tiger's owner called, "Buma, get out of there now." But Kim Ho said, "It's fine, leave it be." Asuyun looked astonished. Buma seems to really like it. Just sensing its energy shows this is a powerful life element relic. "May I see the item's description? We promise to protect this information with the club's honor." Kim Ho didn't hesitate and replied, "If you both say so, then fine." Reading the description, Ma Kyung-hwa couldn't help exclaiming, "It increases the effectiveness of stored life element items by 1.3 times. Ha So-yeon was equally astonished. "That's an absurd item. Would you be willing to sell this cube?" Kim Ho immediately crossed his arms, pretended to ponder for a moment, then replied, "I don't know. After all, this is an extremely valuable item." Ma Kyung-hwa hurriedly spoke up. "The true value of an item only shines in the hands of someone who knows how to use it. Don't let it go to waste. Hand it over to us." Kim Ho nodded, secretly pleased. These people being so forward. I'm genuinely grateful. He outwardly replied calmly, "I understand your intention, but I'm still a little hesitant." Ha So-yeon immediately offered, "Tell us what you want. We'll do our best to meet it." Hearing that, Kim Ho couldn't hide his joy, thinking, "Yes, that's more like it." He held up 4 fingers and said confidently, "Then 4 season passes for the special training room. More precisely, 1 season pass and items equivalent to the other 3 passes. I want an empty skill book." At that, the two of them were taken aback. Ma Kyung-hwa slapped the table, stood up, and shouted, "That's really unreasonable. Don't you think you're being greedy?" Ha So-yeon was calmer, but still said the season pass was acceptable, while an empty skill book was a bit too much. Kim Ho also stood up looking regretful. "Then let's pretend this exchange never happened. I'm leaving." But immediately a voice rang out. The girl stood up and shyly stepped forward. "I heard from the back. I have an anti-skill book." Ha So-yeon anxiously asked, "Is that okay, Nari?" She answered honestly, "I haven't used it because I haven't thought of a good skill for it yet. If it stays like this, it'll probably sit in my storage forever. Moreover, look how much Buma likes it." Hearing that, Buma immediately meowed happily. Ha So-yeon sighed, helplessly looking at her. "All right, if Nari truly wants to, then fine." She immediately smiled brightly. "Thank you." They immediately took out the items and began the exchange. Now that conditions are met, let's not waste time and proceed with the trade. Kim Ho replied cheerfully, "I also like to get things done quickly." "A good deal, isn't it? Now our business is settled." But at that moment, Seo Yane suddenly slammed the table, stood up, and shouted, "Wait, I still have something else with you besides that cube. Kim Ho, I want to challenge you to a match." But he just replied nonchalantly, "No, thanks." Hearing that, the other man cried out in surprise, "What?" Kim Ho shot back, "Do you expect me to come when you call and fight whenever you want?" Jichul, furious, ground his teeth and growled, "A duel is a matter of honor. You, who care about honor, were going to gang up on me earlier?" At that, they were all taken aback. With that, Kim Ho calmly began to leave. He added, "I don't intend to waste time on meaningless matters." Jichul's movement froze at once. "Wait." Kim Ho continued, "I'll tell people you won, so go boast about it." At that, Ma Kyung-hwa produced a VIP production ticket and seriously said, "In that case, what if I put a prize on this match? Is this enough to make it worth your time?" Kim Ho turned back with an O, thinking this was negotiable now. He smiled and replied, "All right, I accept." Jichul pointed at Kim Ho and said, "I'll let you decide the date." He thought for a moment and answered, 2 days from now seems fine." Jichul raised an eyebrow, asking, Why 2 days later? He replied, I need to master this first. Ma Kyung-hwa, hearing this, looked exasperated. He shook his head in disbelief. Only 2 days to come up with and master a skill? Fine, let's see how hard you try to learn it. But Kim Ho only smiled in response. Just wait and see. 2 days later, at the arena, as Dang Young approached, she asked aloud, Kim Ho, that guy, why did he accept the challenge? Song Chun-ki, seeing her arrive, smiled and asked back, You're here too? She added, That sly fox Ma Kyung-hwa will surely pull some tricks. But he reassured her that he accepted because he believed he could win. He probably has his own calculations. Dang Young remained very worried. She sighed. Yes, maybe, but something feels off. She thought to herself that she must watch closely to see if he would pull any weird tricks. Below, Jichul put on his gloves and spoke with sarcasm. I'll give you credit for not running away. Kim Ho calmly replied. With a VIP ticket as the prize, how could I refuse? Above, Ma Kyung-hwa also called down. This match will be recorded and anyone can watch it. Do you two agree? Both of them answered in unison, without planning to agreed. Agreed. Ma Kyung-hwa, hearing that, immediately announced. Then let's begin. Both of you enter the arena. Map, Rocky Deathmatch Arena. Time limit, 10 minutes. Kim Ho versus Gwak Jichul, 100% start. Jichul entered and immediately took a fighting stance, confidently saying, Last time you were just lucky, but this time will be different. I'll show you the difference in class. But Kim Ho showed no ripple of emotion. Instead, he calmly cast his technique. Seeing that movement, his body immediately froze. What's this Earth and Link move? Before long, he was knocked down. Kim Ho, meanwhile, casually asked, So what are you planning to show me? It's just the floor. It doesn't even hurt. You're overreacting. As soon as Gwak Jichul stood up, he immediately cast an Earth Convergence spell. He roared angrily to see how long Kim Ho could stay calm. Then he immediately hurled that orb toward Kim Ho. But even as the ball of earth flew toward him, Kim Ho didn't bother to dodge. He merely flicked his finger, and the stone's trajectory was deflected. Seeing that, Jichul couldn't help gape in astonishment. What? He's pulling that trick again? How on earth is he doing it? And then he was hit by his own attack, scrambling to his feet. He ground his teeth in fury, thinking to himself, Damn it, I can't let this continue. He forced himself up and said, All right, I admit you're not coward. Inwardly thinking he hadn't planned to use this, but the winner of this match would be him. But the winner of this match will be me. Saying that, he slammed both hands to the ground and shouted, Now watch this. Instantly a monster appeared, a wood golem. A golem refined by borrowing the forest power to grant life to an ancient tree. Dang Young outside saw this, and clenched her teeth in anger. These bastards are going too far. A level 53 golem. What is it doing here? Ma Kyung-hwa, you shameless. Ma Kyung-hwa was also astonished. He furrowed his brow. I was hoping he wouldn't use it, but fine. Dang Young felt unsettled, thinking that with so many viewers he wouldn't dare use Flame Fist. Can anyone stop this? Jichul, feeling extremely smug, laughed loudly. Let's see if you can escape this golem intact. Say goodbye to your bragging. But facing this, Kim Ho showed no emotion. 2 days earlier in the special training room, Kim Ho studied a book while asking himself, what kind of support mage is the most useful? The answer depends on the situation, so there are many support types like healing, enhancement, and debuffing, but for versatility, nothing beats this. For a jack-of-all-trades role, no skill surpasses this one. Back in the present, Gwak Jichul continued, triumphant, shouting, I'll crush you in one blow. Come on, show me your tricks. The golem on the other side obeyed the command, immediately raising its arm to wind up. With a thunderous crash, its gigantic arm came down, but Kim Ho jumped and avoided it. As he moved, he silently assessed that for someone oriented toward wind element support like him, this was the optimal skill to create from an empty skill book. Indeed, this was the optimal skill to craft from an empty skill book. In a single strike, Kim Ho sent the golem flipping backward. It let out a roar. Kim Ho felt a great sense of satisfaction. Immediately, the system notified him. Wind power transmitted physical strength into the air, reinforced by the west wind blessing, enhanced by augmentation. Back in the stands, people instantly shouted, Well done, impressive. They set you to fight a golem, yet you still won. Meanwhile, Ma Kyung-hwa was trembling with anger, but in the end he still produced a ticket. The VIP ticket as promised. Kim Ho accepted it cheerfully. Thanks. Can I make one more request? It won't hurt you guys. Keep the replay of this match private. The Emerald Tower probably wouldn't want this public either. Ma Kyunghwa ground his teeth in anger, but forced himself to ask politely. You're clever. So what do you want in return? Kim Ho winked. I don't need anything now, but I might ask a favor later. He then turned and walked away. Agreed. Watching his figure leave, Kim Ho thought inwardly that although it sounded generous, he actually wanted to keep this secret. News of his new wind-empowered skill. He wanted it to spread as slowly as possible. At that moment, Go Hyunwoo also stepped up to praise him. Kim Ho, you did well. Kim Ho turned and handed over the season pass. Ah, right on time. Here's your season pass. Seeing the pass held out, the other guy gaped in surprise. You got it. Kim Ho immediately winked at him. Didn't I say it'd be ready in 2 weeks? Dang Young came over, draped an arm around him, and asked, so what did you arrange with Ma Kyunghwa? You're really good at making a profit. Kim Ho could only force a smile. Nothing escapes you. We'll talk about it later. Oh, and about that favor I mentioned the other day. Dang Young released her grip and asked blankly, you mean the Magical Engineering Club? They seemed eager to meet you soon. So just hearing that. Kim Ho visibly brightened. That's great. Let's go meet them. Shortly after, at the #1 magical engineering workshop that had just opened, Kim Ho was amazed. Truly a top workshop, it looked splendid. He said, excuse me, then remarked how different it was from workshop #4 where he took the cube. At that moment, someone stepped out and asked, are you Kim Ho? He replied, yes, greeting, senior. That's him, the man immediately said. I'm Bong Jae-sok. I've heard about you from Dang Young. He was Bong Jae-sok, level 53, head of the Magical Engineering Club. He turned to Kim Ho and said, let's go to the club room and talk. Follow me. Kim Ho went along at once, though inwardly he thought the man seemed rather hurried. No sooner had they stepped inside than Bong Jae-sok began. So you actually completed the 10 by 10 by 10 cube, right? I'll be direct. Technically that cube belongs to our club, but I don't want to make trouble about it. After all, no one besides you could complete it. I just want to take a look. So if you show me the finished cube, we'll call it even. Kim Ho calmly replied, unfortunately, I don't have it anymore. Hearing that, he gasped in surprise. What do you mean you don't have it? Kim Ho answered honestly, I left it to the club naturally. Bong Jae-sok turned away a little and sighed, bored. What a waste of time. I'm off. But immediately after, Kim Ho produced a stack of papers and said, did you think I'd come empty-handed? He looked puzzled. What's this? Examining the contents closely, Bong Jae-sok shouted, no way. Are these the blueprints for it? I can't believe someone was crazy enough to record its entire structure. Wait, this table is cut in the middle. Do you have a rest? Kim Ho smiled and exhaled in relief. Of course I kept it safe. Bong Jae-sok hurriedly said, just tell me what you want. Kim Ho's eyes lit up and he raised a hand. I want to use the equipment in workshop #1. Bong Jae-sok proposed. We need it during the day, so you can only use it from midnight to morning. How about that? Kim Ho agreed. Hearing that, Bong Jae-sok immediately reached for the documents and said loudly, then hand over the rest. Oh, by the way, do you want to join the club? Kim Ho smiled and replied, thanks, but I'll pass. Bong Jae-sok stood up, seeming a bit regretful. What a pity, but use the scrap in the workshop if you need it. Just keep bringing me designs like these. All right, I'll be going. In this situation, Kim Ho could only force a smile. Thanks, quick and efficient. Left alone, Kim Ho thought seriously. So the basics are done. Now it's time to start preparing to craft the weapon. Meanwhile, elsewhere, Sung Jae trailed after Ma Kyunghwa, repeatedly pleading, Senior, please reconsider. He coldly asked back why. He explained, you can't blame my brother entirely. How many new students can fight a golem? Especially a level 53 golem. He said coldly that nonetheless this harms the Emerald Tower's reputation. Sung Jae sincerely admitted fault. I acknowledge my brother acted recklessly, but it's not solely his fault. Hearing this, Ma Kyunghwa's movements froze. He turned back, gritted his teeth. Is the disciplinary committee intervening in Emerald Tower affairs? He stood there resolute and said, I only want a fair judgment. In the end, Ma Kyunghwa could only yield. He sighed, so what do you want? He proposed giving him just one chance. Ma Kyunghwa firmly offered condition. The 2-month decision will be based on Guak Jichul's ranking after 2 months. Any objections? Sung Jae immediately nodded. No, that's more than enough. With that settled, Ma Kyunghwa turned and left. Before long, the corridor was left with only Sung Jae. Just then, he spoke up again. It turned out Song Chunhai had been hiding behind, eavesdropping. Hearing him call her name, She jumped in surprise and then shyly stepped out. You knew I was here? He said sternly. I knew from when you sneaked into the stands. Apparently hiding isn't your strength. You know how the match went, right? If I fought him, could I win? She bowed her head slightly, thought for a moment, and answered, not sure, which surprised him a bit. Not sure? Did you check his hands? Shanhai looked up and said firmly, yes, both hands, no scratches at all. Hearing that, Sung Jae immediately rubbed his chin and thought seriously. If he used fire fists, they couldn't have healed that fast. Could I have his scene? But that arrogant look, as if everything were beneath him. It was hard to believe it wasn't the same person. Then Sung Jae sighed again. Sorry, but I'll need you to continue this matter for me. She replied firmly, no need to apologize. I do it because I'll definitely catch him slipping. In the second week of the third round, an announcement appeared. Random map, rules, 2-team deathmatch. 10-minute limit. Lee Sudak also appeared to explain the rules seriously. Coordination is still as important as last week, but the objective is different this time. You may even notice coordination flaws you hadn't seen before. To address those shortcomings, the Academy prepared a mentoring program. So think carefully and take advantage of this opportunity. That's all. People began asking each other, Kim Ho, did you sign up for the mentoring program? Just then an announcement appeared. Mentoring registration complete. Kim Ho replied that he had no reason to hesitate. Kim Ho held up 3 fingers and explained seriously, they'll pair you with a high-ranking third year or a graduate, depending on your focus. Will we get another chance to learn from them, right? Hearing that, Go Hyun-woo grew confident. That's right, I'll sign up too. Thanks for the suggestion. Then Kim Ho turned his desk mate and asked, what about you? Seo Yane replied, listlessly, so tired, I want to sleep. He sighed inwardly. She had only learned aura grenades to some extent. Seo Yane still had much to learn, so the mentoring program was important for her. Isn't there any way to persuade her? At that moment, Go Hyun-woo spoke up. Hey Kim Ho, do you want to pair with me this week? He cheerfully replied, sure, let's form a team this time. Immediately, Seo Yane sat up, half asleep, tugged Kim Ho's sleeve, and said, I want to team up with you too. Go Hyun-woo suggested, since there are 2 matches this week, why don't we split up and each pair for 1 match? Kim Ho forced a smile. So my decision doesn't matter anymore? Seo Yane nodded in agreement. Sounds reasonable. Hearing that, Go Hyun-woo stood up at once. Then I'll go train. You 2 go ahead. Kim Ho replied, okay, see you tomorrow. The next day, Go Hyun-woo approached from a distance and shyly said, sorry to keep you waiting, Kim Ho. He politely answered, I just arrived too. But then he suddenly looked very surprised and thought to himself, huh, what's this? His aura is even sharper than yesterday. Go Hyun-woo was excitedly saying, I've been looking forward to this. Kim Ho privately assessed that his meridian seemed to have reached rank C, faster than he expected. Then he asked, so, was pairing with Yane okay yesterday? He scratched his head and sighed while we won. But he recalled that yesterday the 2 opponents had been trapped by a fireball move. He remembered that the opponents yesterday included Hong Yanawa, a rising star of the Ruby Tower. I know Seo Yane isn't yet a match for a rising star, but the result was even more one-sided than I expected. Countless notices appeared on the bulletin board. Seo Yane 81%, Seo Yane 78%, Seo Yane 74%. Kim Ho couldn't help but sigh. What he'd feared had finally happened. Seo Yane had absolutely no defensive capability. Thinking that, he stomped his foot hard, then charged toward the 2 of them. When he reached them, he immediately took a fighting stance and struck a killing blow. He was hit and was instantly flung far away. That left Hong Yanawa utterly astonished, and his expression at that moment was extremely fierce. After a while, he opened the match-finding interface and continued, I tried to finish that match. I even suggested he join mentoring, but he didn't seem interested at all. Go Hyun-woo could only offer a wry smile. Seems like a lot happened. Kim Ho sighed again. He probably needs to get beaten a few times. Is he really that hesitant? Suddenly an announcement rang out, pulling them back to the present. Found a match so fast. A line on the screen read that a match had been found. Go Hyun-woo cheerfully said, I'll show you the fruits of my training. Immediately, they were teleported to the training area. Looking around, Go Hyun-woo was astonished. What kind of situation is this? This time the opponents were Team Jang Sam with 572 points and Seo Yane with 741 points. Seeing that, he exclaimed, Seo Yane's team? Kim Ho smiled faintly, thinking, perfect timing. This is an opportunity for Yang to realize how weak her defense is. Go Hyunwoo then asked anxiously, "Can we win?" Kim Ho only smiled and replied, "Of course." Soon after, the match began. Kim Ho and Gunu charged forward at once. Kim Ho told him to leave Seo Yang to him. He immediately agreed. Got it. Seeing Seo Yang's move, Kim Ho thought she was throwing a smoke bomb, just as expected. He quickly dodged, charging forward while shouting, "Sorry, but that's useless." But very quickly she pulled out her two guns. However, all those attacks were cleanly dodged by him. Before long, Kim Ho was standing in front of Seo Yang, and with a single strike, knocked the gun from her hand. Immediately after, he assumed a stance to launch an attack. But his fist suddenly slowed just as it reached Seo Yang's face. Instead of punching her, Kim Ho replaced it with a flick to her forehead. Then he smiled and asked, "Well, want to continue?" Seo Yang clutched her head and immediately turned away. "I give up." Kim Ho thought to himself that her pride seemed badly wounded. Now let's see what's over on the other side. Earlier, Shin Byung-chul had said the Guild Alliance side had hidden talent. That odd movement of his right hand looked strange to me from the start. But he immediately raised his voice loudly. "Hold on, you two, stop." Kim Ho looked at the two of them and said seriously, "I know you're hiding your strength, but can you fight for real?" The other replied coldly, "I don't know what gives you that idea, but I'm fighting for real." Kim Ho winked at him. "If you're worried about the replay, we can set it to private, and I can give you a bit of a push. Yulin Voon, if you win, I'll give you that information." He was stunned into silence by what I said. Kim Ho thought to himself that if he valued it enough to hide his true strength, he certainly wouldn't pass up this clue. Jang Sam stammered, "How do you know that?" Kim Ho smiled and replied, "I just told you. I'll give you the information if you win." Hearing that, Jang Sam immediately gripped his sword hilt and said, "If you're willing to go that far, then I'll do as you ask." Go Hyunwoo was a little surprised. In an instant his gaze changed, and he said, "I'll go all out too." On the other side, Jang Sam let out a soft breath, then lunged toward Go Hyunwoo with terrifying speed. In no time he had landed a hit. A notification simultaneously appeared. "Go Hyunwoo, you 87%. Jang Sam kept swinging down. Jang Sam kept swinging down. Not over yet, the system immediately announced. Go Hyunwoo 73%. Go Hyunwoo 68%. Seeing himself on the offensive, Jang Sam told himself he'd finish it with this move. But astonishingly, up until then Go Hyunwoo hadn't budged. Even as the blade neared, he showed no movement. And in a blink, Go Hyunwoo bent down and dodged, while simultaneously assuming an attacking stance. He whispered, tightened his flow, then dashed forward, leaving a slash across Jang Sam's chest. At that moment, a few cracks also appeared on his sword. It turned out both of their swords had shattered. Just then, Kim Ho stepped forward and spoke in a conciliatory tone. "Stop, enough. Both of you rest here." At that point, the two of them slumped down. The scoreboard displayed the results. Kim Ho, Go Hyunwoo win against Jang Sam. Seo Yang lose. Observing them, Kim Ho thought to himself that because I remained standing, the system recorded us as the winners. But in reality, we should consider it a loss. Once Jang Sam revealed his true strength, and I couldn't withstand that blow, the outcome was decided in that moment. Indeed, we're still a bit short of reaching promising rank. I mean, it's just not there yet. At that moment, Jang Sam suddenly startled awake. He glanced at the system notice with some regret. "So I lost after all?" Kim Ho's voice quickly replied, "As you can see." He immediately sat up, a little disappointed by the result, but said it was a good match. Kim Onojid. "Yeah, Go Hyunwoo will probably say the same." Jang Sam quickly stood, rubbing his shoulders as he resumed. Before leaving, he asked, "Tell me, do you think my strength showed through too much?" Kim Ho smiled and answered, a little. The way you held the sword looked a bit awkward. And looking too ordinary also contributed. Jang Sam was astonished. Too ordinary makes you easy to judge. What do you mean by that? Kim Ho then offered a hint. Think about what the Death Dragon Academy is like. Jang Sam rubbed his chin, thought for a moment, then replied, "Indeed, it's a gathering place for top fighters from around the world. In such a place, being ordinary stands out even more." "Useful. I'll remember that. And one more thing. Yulin Voon is..." Kim Ho interrupted. "I meant to ask after I'd won." He hesitated a moment. Jang Sam replied, "Yes, that's right. Then next time I'll challenge you again." Kim Ho agreed. Always welcome back to the arena. Go Hyunwoo felt a bit embarrassed. "I made a fool of myself back there. I've lost face." Kim asked, "What did you think of the match just now?" Kim Ho answered honestly, You opened a gap with a probing move, then the final decisive play was very neat. At that moment, Go Hyunwoo pulled out his broken sword, inspected it for a moment, and said, "One thing. I'm worried about my weapon. I can't keep dodging this forever." Kim Ho stared at him in surprise. The simple solution is to use a better weapon. But Go Hyunwoo blushed with embarrassment. "My finances aren't exactly plentiful." Immediately, Kim Ho produced something and told him that weapons don't have to be bought with money. "How many points do you have? Open your phone and check." Go Hyunwoo answered honestly. "I've accumulated about 5,000 points. That's fairly enough. An E-grade longsword and a D-grade longsword." Immediately, a flurry of system notifications rang out. Purchased D-grade longsword item minus 100 points. Purchased E-grade longsword item. Points. Purchased 3 thermal catalyst vials minus 3,000 points. Kim Ho pressed buy and added, with the remaining points, by 3 thermal catalyst vials. "First, give me those vials." Go Hyunwoo was a bit puzzled. "What were those vials used for?" Kim Ho replied, "They were crafting materials. I'll make a few useful items for you." "That's enough for today. Focus on recovering." Go Hyunwoo was deeply grateful and bowed respectfully. "Thank you for everything, Mr. Kim." That evening, walking down the corridor, Kim Ho thought to himself that the weekly duel was over. Maybe he should prepare materials in the workshop and, while at it, craft the item for Go Hyunwoo. As soon as he opened the door, Kim Ho immediately greeted, "Hello." The other was a little surprised, but replied, Sure." Looking at him, Kim Ho couldn't help thinking that he'd heard Bong Jae-sok had scolded him last time over the design. "He probably didn't like me rummaging around, so I felt more guilty. But this time I asked permission." A notification popped up immediately. "Register the subject skill into the Magic Technique slot for skill copying 2 halves. Magic Technique B. Theft Cable B." Kim Ho continued analyzing. Now that World Force exists, Hummingbird should probably rest. The luck of getting a blueprint cube is probably gone. But this place is ideal for finding usable materials. These items are unfinished, failed for some reason. In other words, the crafting process is still intact. Usually finding materials is easier than field hunting. Usually. Seeing Kim Ho continuously crafting, the other seemed very surprised. He turned and asked awkwardly, "What are you doing?" Kim Ho answered honestly, "I'm disassembling items to collect some materials." He seemed interested and offered, "If you don't mind, can I take a look?" Kim Ho replied cheerfully, "Yes, sure." Looking at the vial in his hand, he couldn't help but be astonished. Wow, after disassembly the material is this clean, like new. Kim Ho looked at the solution and smiled slightly, wondering, shall we try crafting a batch? Then he asked, "Senior, would you like to trade some materials?" He immediately brightened. "Really? I'd welcome that. What do you need?" Kim Ho began listing a cooling assembly with a reinforced steel wire central shaft. He hesitated and said, "What if Bong Jae-sok complains about this?" Kim Ho shrugged slightly. "Exchanging just materials shouldn't be a problem. If you're still worried, this time I'll get permission directly." He chuckled and asked, "Really? Then shall I send a message?" It showed as read, but no reply yet. Kim Ho calmly said, "He's probably busy, so, oh well." He continued, saying nothing special happened would be fine, but before he finished speaking the door burst open. The person who appeared was Bong Jae-sok. He couldn't help exclaiming, "What is this?" "Olhat, Bong Jae-sok." Bong Jae-sok stepped forward and asked seriously, You disassembled this?" "Perfect timing. Help me see if this is a failed item, because it consumed quite a lot of material, right? Can you disassemble it?" Kim Ho pondered for a moment and replied, This will take quite a bit of time." Bong Jae-sok offered, "I know it will take time. I'll pay you properly." Kim Ho smiled and proposed, "I also need materials, so let me take payment in materials." Bong Jae-sok immediately nodded. "Send me the list, and I'll prepare it right away." "No rush. Take your time. Message me what you need." Saying that, he turned to leave. Kim Ho replied with a smile, "Yes, senior." At that moment, the other person stepped forward and shyly asked, "By the way, could you help me with one more thing?" Kim Ho asked, "What is it?" He pointed to his table and asked, "I have something over there I need taken apart. Can you disassemble it for me?" He looked at it, then answered, "No problem." He laughed, "Thanks. I'll try to provide whatever you need as much as I can." The next morning, that voice rang out again. "Is it morning already? The rest I'll finish after class." Heading down to the lecture hall, Kim Ho thought to himself there was still plenty of time before class. Might as well catch a quick nap. Why did CO Yane come so early today? She disappeared yesterday without a word. Kim Ho immediately approached and asked, "Why are you early? You haven't had breakfast, right? Want something to eat?" But all he got in response was a tired groan. Kim Ho silently judged that she still hadn't fully recovered. He continued, "Yesterday's match was a bit one-sided, wasn't it? I did that just to show you your weakness." Kim Ho sighed softly. "Perhaps you're gradually realizing that your fighting style is extremely weak once your position is exposed. Your mana foundation is fine now. This time try investing in support skills. Come here." CEO Yane immediately looked up and hesitantly asked, "Will you tutor me one-on-one?" Kim Ho smiled. "I like to tutor you myself, but learning this from another marksman will be more effective. Though it's a bit inconvenient, accept the coaching." Finally, CEO Yane reached for the bread. She thought for a moment, then replied, "All right, I'll do it." Just then Go Hyunwoo appeared and chuckled. "Oh, Miss CEO signed up too? Good choice. Hyunwoo, are you feeling better?" "Thanks to you, I'm back to my best. My body is fine, but I'm worried about the weapon I bought yesterday. I plan to test it in the remaining duels." Kim Ho looked straight at him and spoke each word clearly. "All right, then use this too." Hyunwoo looked at the item in his hand in surprise. "Isn't this a paperclip?" Kim Ho cheerfully explained that it looked like a normal paperclip, but it was an item that protects equipment durability. Information about the paperclip also appeared. Paperclip, quality D, protects weapon durability and automatically restores weapon durability. He pinned it to his jacket pocket. In the remaining duels, try using it together with the newly acquired weapon. On one side were Hyunwoo and Han Tuet with expressionless faces, and on the other were Young Suj and Park Nari, anxious. He stared at his opponent and thought, Mississippi Park Nari, the club's hope? Kim Hyung warned to be careful of that spirit beast. Nari stroked the cat on her shoulder. "Buma, get ready." Buma immediately sprang forward, and it transformed into a massive tiger. Buma, obeying its master's command, leapt forward. "Go!" Hyunwoo's sword parried the pounce with a clang. "Miss Baekung now." Baekung quickly executed her technique. She struck directly at the tiger's head. Snow Soul Master. It looked like Baekung was having a really hard time. Buma glared at her. Park Nari, 87%. With just one swipe, Baekung was flung far away. Seeing that, he cried out in alarm. "Miss Baekung." He thought as his sword was broken. Is this the limit for an E-grade weapon? He suddenly took a long step back. Hyunwoo said worriedly, "At this rate, we probably don't stand chance." Baekung was tense too. "I agree, try a different approach." He watched Buma approaching and thought to himself that the strategy seemed to be to have the spirit beast lead and continuously heal. In contrast, the caster was completely exposed, a playstyle wholly dependent on the spirit beast. Hyunwoo glanced over and nodded to signal agreement. She nodded back to show she understood. Strike the true form directly, and the two of them immediately attacked Nari. Suji espondant glued. No way. I anticipated a situation like this. Nari had created a shield with her ability, the Gaia Barrier. Before long, creeping vines had covered them both. Baekung and Hyunwoo fought on. Ice Extreme Snow, Soul Chief Tan Lu. Hyunwoo silently conceded that it really wasn't easy to penetrate. The next strike would deal damage that bypassed magic defenses in one blow. But Buma had already bitten Baekung. Then there was a piercing scream, and the scoreboard immediately appeared. Score: Go Hyunwoo, Baekung Han Tuet lose. Young Suji, Park Nari win. Time passed, and the next day he reviewed the previous scene. "I'll let you witness such an embarrassing moment." Kim Ho gently reassured Hyunwoo. "No, facing a promising opponent and performing like that is already good." He looked at him with curiosity. "If you were in this situation, what would you do, Kim?" Kim Ho answered very seriously. "It's not really a matter of strategy or technique. The stat gap is just too large. Park Nari is a promising talent fully backed by the club. Not only does she have broad skill and trait coverage, but the Lifeform bundle she recently traded with me outfitted her from head to toe with all kinds of items." Hyunwoo sullenly accepted the truth. Hearing that, losing was understandable. The opponent was excellent and well prepared. Kim Ho wondered to himself that perhaps this should be brought up for discussion. He calmly told him that while you can't raise your stats to match Park Nari, there are still countermeasures. Hyunwoo's eyes lit up. "So there's a way?" Kim Ho didn't beat around the bush. Demonic Sword and a top-tier swordsman. That's a mandatory system item for this build. He bowed his head, looking rather sad. A demonic sword? I didn't even know such an item existed. Another lesson from Kim. Kim Ho pointed at the paperclip on his jacket and reminded him, for now, put the demonic sword aside. Priority is preventing your weapon from breaking. So focus on finding artifacts related to durability for weapons of B rank or higher. Hyunwoo still couldn't brighten. B rank? Those won't be easy to find. He pointed at the photo behind him and said they can drop in the underground dungeon of Dungeon Dong. Hyunwoo quickly reminded him, but it's currently the duel week. Can't we go down to the dungeon? Anyway, you can't go down next week either. Kim Ho was quite surprised by this news. Why is that? He sadly replied. Because you don't have the qualification yet. Kim Ho nodded with his eyes closed. The dungeon's underground is different from the surface. It's live combat. They can't throw first-year freshmen into life or death live combat matches. So isn't there no way now? If he's still indifferent now, it's hard. Kim Ho picked up the glass on the table and replied, I mean officially. Officially. Hyunwoo suddenly became tense. Sneaking in would do. Kim Ho picked up his phone. There are errand services specifically for times like this. He's curious too. Should I call Shin? Kim Ho quickly confirmed. Yeah, he'll be here soon. Shin Byung-chul arrived, rapidly grinning. You two here? How can I help? We're planning to go into Dungeon Dong a bit. I'm thinking Monday night. Kim Ho looked quite pleased. Monday night? Perfect. He was momentarily stunned. What's the dungeon number? As soon as he heard, Shin Byung-chul pulled out his notebook. Number 388. He flipped through the pages. If it's 388, it's the D-rank Feathered Serpent right? It's a 4-person dungeon. Who's going in? The two of them looked at each other in silence. Kim Ho pointed at Hyunwoo. Me and him. Just the two of us. Byung-chul seemed quite worried. Are you sure? If anything happens, I'll be responsible. Kimoria surduweriri. You won't die. If there's trouble, retreat immediately. Hyunwoo nodded in agreement. And I trust you, Kim. He quickly jotted it down. All right, it's decided. I'll prepare for Monday night. Kim Ho asked bluntly. What's the pay for this favor? Byung-chul smiled broadly. We'll pay between us. Plus you still owe me from the Banwei incident. Consider it lumped together. That attitude surprised him. He hadn't expected him to offer to settle the debt up front. Byung-chul just scratched his head and laughed sheepishly. To be honest, I've only been to the dungeon once. That makes me nervous. So you're inexperienced too, huh? Kim Ho quickly reassured him. It's fine. Even if it's your first time, just don't be sloppy. He's still very awkward. Oh, don't worry. I'll give it my all. He added, while we're getting experience, add 1 for number 104 as well. Byung-chul checked the notebook once more. If it's 104, that's a B-rank common black serpent. It's in the deep area of the dungeon, so with my level, I can't help. Kim Ho remained calm. I know. Try asking the head of the department. He quickly put the notebook away. Hua Han, this should be doable. I'll ask my sister about it. See you Monday night, then. Thanks for the trouble. Kim Ho turned back to the table with Hyunwoo. Shall we make our plan too? Hyunwoo's hand gripped the cup tightly. Okay, what do I need to do? He began detailing the plan. First, go into the D rank we scheduled for the Feathered Serpent right. There will get you a weapon. At the same time, I'll try to gather profit for myself. First, go into the D rank we scheduled for the Feathered Serpent right. There will get you a weapon. At the same time, I'll try to gather profit for myself. The deep area of Dungeon Dong is a place where a single mistake can be deadly. Though worried, Hyunwoo was determined. I'm mentally prepared. He opened the system panel to show him. Your role is very important. Skill matters, of course, but synergy is essential, so you must learn the dungeon as well as I do. He looked flustered as he stared at the stack of papers. Can you quickly explain this to me? This was the walkthrough guide for the two of them, every word committed to memory. Jae-sok at Workshop 1 laid out a pile of items. These are the things you asked me for last time. The suspended stone extract solution, the mana core, and the weather chip. Right? Kim Ho expressed his thanks. Yes, thanks to you, I easily found materials that are normally hard to obtain. Thank you. He couldn't hide his curiosity. It looks almost finished. May I take a quick look? Jae-sok didn't refuse. Yes, wait a moment. At last, Kim Ho successfully completed the craft. Done. Jae-sok stared dumbfounded at the item in his hands. I wonder what you were collecting materials for. Turns out you forged another strange thing. It looks like the head of a magic staff or wand. Have you found the main shaft yet? Kim Ho answered honestly, not yet. I don't have anything suitable right now. As for the shaft, I plan to find it gradually later. He told himself he would look in the dungeon's lower levels. He nodded after hearing that. Yeah, there's no rush now. You probably won't be coming to workshop for a while, right? Kim Ho nodded. Yes, I've bothered you a lot lately, but I'll still drop by often. A moment later in Class 13, the young teacher announced to everyone. This week's assault match theme is a sweep. If you clear all the monsters, anyone can score high. There's no time limit, so pay attention to where monsters are hiding. And the important point in this assault is that terrain and teammates are randomly assigned, meaning you'll have to fight with new people in a new location. He closed the book, then coordinate smoothly and conquer it. Class dismissed. See you next session. Hyunwoo looked at Kim Ho with regret. Teams are random this week, so we can't go together. Kim Ho smiled back. That's right. This week, everyone acts individually. Also, skip the lecture on mana bullets for now. Next week is mentoring week, so you can learn new skills then. This week, focus on strengthening your internal power. Hyunwoo agreed it made sense. All right. Yane remained indifferent, as usual. They both nodded at his advice. Before entering real combat, be sure to try training mode first. Though he said that, he thought differently. Trying training mode himself would just waste time. The system issued a notice that they were entering a random dungeon. Teams are being matched randomly. Kim Ho's face was determined. He would go straight into real combat. He looked at the system and silently wished for a competent teammate. But whoever the teammate, completing 100% was guaranteed. So in this situation, a useful teammate is someone whose skills I can copy. Magic techniques aren't needed for now, so I'll switch to combat skills. Then my teammate will be something that surprises him. Oh, what's this? His partner turned out to be Hong Yanawa. Her? She startled and asked flustered, Kim Ho again? He was also surprised by her reaction, thinking, what is that? Such a strange response. From the placement exam to the one-on-one match, I'd met her many times as an opponent. Each time she was overwhelmed by me. It's only natural she'd hesitate a bit. Kim Ho sighed and smiled. But my goal now is to complete the mission efficiently. Sorry, but creating a little intimidating atmosphere is more convenient. He urged her, why are you still standing there dazed? Move now. Kim Ho's fierce glare made her nearly cry. Okay, fine. The two of them ran off at full speed. Hong Yanawa ran while thinking, I should have known better today, do it tomorrow instead. Why did I insist on clearing it quickly for my pride? I just want to avoid being teammates with this guy. Why did I end up with him? Where is he planning to go? There's nothing over there. At that moment, a swarm of goblins swooped out. This surprised her. She wondered why monsters appeared no matter which path they took. This couldn't be that easy. Seeing Kim Ho sprint past, she yelped, wait, there are still monsters left uneliminated. His indifferent attitude irritated her. What? You didn't even listen to me and just left? You expect me to clean up after you? Yanawa swung her staff and ran quickly. Her combustion was excellent. Stick together. Are you planning to solo it? But he coldly said, don't fall behind, just follow me. Yanawa had no other choice. Okay. She kept watching him and thinking, though something felt odd during the assault. Without hesitation, choosing another path. He just marched straight ahead. The goblin was scorched by the flames. Yanawa inwardly judged his composure. This guy acted like he'd been through dozens, even hundreds of assaults. At that moment, Kim Ho reached out to stop her. Wait. Yanawa looked ahead. Huh? Is that an earthen den? He suggested. Go take a closer look. She peered into the small cave entrance and exclaimed. Judging by the size, it's probably a goblin burrow, hard for a person to crawl into. Kim Ho calmly ordered, you check it out. Yanawa flinched and shouted. Me? With that terrifying look of yours. Of course I can do it. Don't you want me to? That gaze frightened her again. If I can get in, fine, I'll go in. His action left him stunned and wondering. Huh, why crawl inside? I only meant to use fire magic from the entrance. Suddenly, a flash of light appeared. Oh, that light. A blaze erupted. Wow, truly a student of the Crimson Tower, so fiery. Yanawa was also astonished at herself. What on earth am I doing? This kind of thing isn't unusual when exploring dungeons. I might as well keep going. She stood up and dusted off her clothes. Finding a burrow was lucky. They could clear it before the goblins poured out. He checked the system panel. It seemed this was the final den, with one monster remaining. Now just take down the boss, and it's over. At that moment, a flying axe came toward them. Kim Ho suddenly grabbed Yonva's wrist, then swiftly pulled her to the side. In dungeons, you mustn't be careless. Yanawa couldn't meet Kim Ho's eyes. Sorry. The axe was spinning back in the opposite direction. Perhaps the earlier explosion had revealed our position. That one is the dungeon boss. We have to kill it. Perfect timing. Both of them were planted on the ground. If they stayed alert, it would be an easy opponent. Coordinate attacks and finish it. He turned to look at the panting girl, thinking she still hadn't fully relaxed. Partly his fault. He should instill a bit of confidence in her. With that, he smiled at her. That one, try taking it down yourself. Yana was startled and asked me alone. Kim Ho encouraged her. Make an effort. You can definitely do it. Yanawa clenched her teeth in anger. Damn it. And in the end, she agreed. All right, I'll try once. A thought flashed through Kim Ho. Yes, prove it to me. Hong Yanawa swung her staff, weaving a ring of fire. He thought as he watched her, she was utterly focused. How strong is her true power? Even the goblin was startled by the sight. It opened its mouth and screamed loudly. She was startled when she saw it lunge at her, thinking, what is? Since when? Did it raise its axe to strike down? But Yanawa quickly leapt up and dodged, thinking, what do you mean? Do you think I'll lose? She immediately unleashed a flame orb from her staff. Confident, she was sure a hit, definitely a hit. But the goblin stared back with wide eyes, irritating her. What? Is this thing immune to damage? Could this dungeon have a trait that halves damage? Or are they thinking designing a dungeon like this? The goblin swung its axe again. She quickly dodged the flying axe, determined to finish it before the overload effect ended. It swung another axe, startling her. With two thrown at once, she had already lowered her stance, too late to evade, and Kim Ho dashed forward while she was still panicking and screaming in her head. Quick, set up the barrier, or those two axes would have torn us apart. I told you not to be careless. She stood up and brushed dust from her skirt. Ah, thanks. Inside, she breathed a sigh of relief. Alive? Alive. He gently reminded her, don't do that. Use that instead. For a moment, she was stunned. If it's that, he coldly interrupted and used a fire pillar. She felt a gratitude she didn't want to recall from the past. Yanawa forced a smile and waved her hand. True, the skill was strong, but its range was limited. Kim Ho remained cool. I'll hold it down. You just focus on power. She called after him as he rushed forward. Wait. Kim Ho merely waved, and the goblin flew away. Seeing him like that, Yanawa felt resolute. No more doubts. Now, just focus on fulfilling her role. The goblin had seen the magic array. As he looked at her, he said, Kim Ho, again? Yanawa quickly warned that it had recognized the magic array. He ignored its antics and seriously advised, don't worry about it. Just proceed. Kim Ho strook sweetly, saw thee, but you'll have to play with me a little longer. The goblin lay right inside the array. Yanawa announced loudly, the magic array is ready. Get out of the area now. Kim Ho watched the goblin charge at him and thought, thanks to elemental resistance, I don't need to dodge. He leapt up just as a dove, but now he just followed instructions. Kim Ho jumped behind Yanawa. Okay, is this position good? She focused on her strike. Good, that's enough. Her staff glowed with her determination. This time, she would finish it with a single blow. The fire incinerated the goblin like a blazing pillar, and instantly a flame shot out and swallowed it whole. Kim Ho, pleased, thought to himself. As expected, the fire spawned a massive vortex. The system immediately notified. Remaining monster 0. Completion 100% equals 800 points. Clear bonus 200 points. Total 1,000 points. Multiplied by 0.8 is equal to 800 points. Yanawa breathed a sigh of relief. It's over. He also inwardly assessed that it ended quickly. Facing the boss, they fought fairly well, even if it was a bit forced. Yanawa cleared her throat. I have a favor to ask. Kim Ho looked at her, quite surprised. What is it? Why are you hesitating? Yanawa shyly recalled the earlier scenes. Could that replay be set to private? He casually asked back. You want me to make the replay private? Yanawa was annoyed by that attitude. I'll compensate you for the lost points. So this thing, it's definitely worth more than a replay. He frowned displeased and thought to himself, what? The ruby only in exchange for a private replay? A modest reward might be acceptable, but this is too much. Yanawa, furious at his indifference, tapped the system in anger. Then I'll offer a larger ruby. Seeing that, he hurriedly stopped her. No need, this is enough. Kim Ho gave a thumbs up in approval. You worked hard, Hong Yanawa. Startled, her eyebrows nearly met as she wondered why he suddenly called her like that. She'd been doing everything herself from the start. Yanawa quickly stepped through the gate. You worked hard too. He looked at her, at a loss for words. No need to be so shy. Anyway, Hong Yanawa's movements were better than he expected. The rumors that she could rival promising talents were true. What surprised him most was her close combat. Because of that, he could choose a skill to copy. Kim Ho recalled Yanawa's image in battle. He didn't know which skill she absorbed via overload. He also has a very powerful fire-type skill. Inferno Fish, the Hellish Fist. Such overwhelming power would surely come with massively enhanced physical strength. He looked at the ruby in his hand and wondered, well, what should I do about this? Tonight, I need to go down to the dungeon basement. I'll bring this to the Crimson Tower later to have it checked. He stepped through the space gate to the dungeon's ground floor. It seemed Go Hyunwoo and Shin Byung-chul hadn't arrived yet. While waiting, he checked the mission rewards. The system showed a weekly combat subquest completed. Objective: clear the dungeon raid with 100% completion. Reward: +1 slot property copy. Kim-ho looked and had to exclaim, oh, finally I can copy new property. If we find a useful trait in the dungeon basement, that'd be great. Just then a voice rang in his ear. Hey, what are you doing? Byung-chul approached with a scolding. If you're going ahead, at least say something. I was waiting up there. Hyunwoo also appeared and said, Kim, so you got here first? He urged cheerfully. After all, we're running late. Let's go. Hyunwoo brimmed with confidence. I won't let you down, Kim. Byung-chul began rummaging in his pockets. All right, I have something to give you guys. Wear these second-year student tie clips and anonymous badges. They'll make the wearer's face look ordinary, not conspicuous. With these, you won't worry even if you run into seniors. Kim-ho looked at him in surprise. Oh, it does blur the face. Hyunwoo grinned. If you just pass by, your identity won't be exposed. He inwardly sweat-smiled, sensing something odd. Kim-ho was ready. All right, let's go. They began descending the stairs. Hyunwoo's patience was thinning. Everyone, hurry up. Are we still far? Byung-chul spoke to reassure them. Almost there, he remarked, looking down at the spiral they just passed. I've heard the dungeon is huge, but I didn't expect it to take this long just to reach rank D. As for the so-called deeper levels, Kim-ho said calmly that there actually were teleportation devices, but because we sneaked in we can't use them. In fact, if Guy were skilled enough, he could even hack those. The guy chuckled at his remark, but they were almost there. They'd finally arrived. Dear guests, sorry to keep you waiting. Please proceed this way. This is dungeon number 388. Before them was a spatial gate, the Feathered Snake altar. Hyunwoo felt a bit relieved. Luckily, they hadn't been detected. They arrived safely. Kim-ho was ready. Everyone has probably memorized the raid guide, so let's begin. An irritated voice sounded behind them. What on earth are you doing? The green-haired girl seemed furious. What kind of cursed skill is that? The boy beside her looked regretful. If not for that, we'd have cleared it already. He had noticed the three of them, but the young man didn't think much of it. What? They came to raid the dungeon too? Kim-ho breathed inwardly. The formation deployment clearly worked. Hyunwoo still felt uneasy. Before encountering others, it's better to move in quickly. Byung-chul patted his shoulder and smiled. Wait, hold on a moment. I still need to deal with the last layer of defense. He placed a transparent cube down, and all the defensive devices around ceased functioning. For now, there should be nothing to worry about. But I'll monitor from outside, just in case. Kim-ho looked displeased. Okay, I'll finish quickly. Wait a moment. Feet approached the gate quickly. There was no time to hesitate. Act now. Kim-ho pointed ahead. See that? That's the focal point of this dungeon. The Feathered Snake altar you'll be responsible for. Many tribal warriors guarded the area. Be careful. Hyunwoo recalled something. Ah, I remember reading about it in the raid guide Kim gave. A mysterious man. Charged, spear aimed straight at Kim-ho. He merely shook his head and dodged. He quickly became alert. As soon as it was mentioned, they had appeared, the tribal warriors. The tribe had chosen them as sacrificial offerings to capture them alive. They surrounded them. Sacrificial offerings, capture them alive. Kim-ho wondered if they were supposed to capture them. Why are they throwing spears? But they didn't care. They charged with spears, determined to make them sacrifices. Hyunwoo looked tense. Stick to the plan, right? He quickly nodded. Yes, let's start. Kim-ho unleashed his power again. He swung his arm and knocked several attackers down. The other quickly drew his sword and swiftly cut down 3 of them. Looking back, Kim-ho said, good luck then. He replied in kind, you too. The tribal warriors, even more exhilarated, charged. Who are these? They're robust sacrifices. Capture them at all costs. Hyunwoo gripped his sword coldly and said, your opponents are me. This blade will end your faces. Kim-ho thought faster. From now on, everyone acts according to plan. Go Hyunwoo will head straight to the altar, while I'll go through the jungle. Not following the main route, the usual completion condition for the Feathered Snake altar is a red assault. After breaking through the tribal warriors and entering the altar, the feathered snake high priest boss will finally appear. Only by disrupting the ritual and simultaneously defeating the high priest and the tribes can the dungeon be cleared. Kim Ho kept a smile on his face. Following the main route, the raid would be fine. But they wouldn't be able to obtain the hidden shard in this dungeon. So they had to search in places others wouldn't notice to dig something up. Just like now, it looked like there weren't many tribesmen left in the camp. They probably concentrated around the altar. Even a few of them weren't a match for Go Hyunwoo. He ran forward while acting polite. Greetings. The tribesmen's eyes brightened at the sight of him. Sacrifices have come to them, a robust offering. They immediately hurled spears at him to capture him alive. Kim Ho was left speechless. Don't they know anything beyond those lines? He quickly executed a move and confidently said, I won't bother with these shrimp. Go fetch your chieftain here now. He watched them gasp blood and inwardly pleased himself. It's still going according to plan. Among the ordinary tents stood a larger, unusual tent. That was the chieftain's private tent. A flash of light flickered inside the tent, and he quickly dodged it. The chieftain lifted the tent flap and stepped out. It's rare to see someone with such a strong aura. You'll make an excellent sacrifice. If you submit to capture, your moments of pain will be shortened. He prepared to unleash a devastating strike. Inferno Fish, the hellish overhead fist overloaded. Everyone only spoke of sacrifices, nothing else. He readied that powerful blow. Inferno Fish, the hellish overloaded overhead fist. Everyone only talked about sacrifices, nothing else. That's why I had to scour the whole forest to find this camp. He leapt back to avoid the enemy's strike. So far, everything was unfolding as planned. He had to hold the chieftain off until Go Hyunwoo found the hidden shard. This golden attack wasn't an elemental strike, so being hit even once could be fatal. But if he used the overhead to absorb the Inferno Fish's fire flare while his body was being pushed to the extreme limit, he moved close to the chieftain. Dodging a strike of that size wasn't difficult, and the chieftain immediately formed a protective barrier. But his fist punched right through that barrier. Kim Ho's punch sent the chieftain flying. He stared at his hand in amazement, thinking, overhead combined with Inferno Fish. As expected, the power was extraordinary. Even a D-rank barrier was destroyed easily. But as expected, a boss is still a boss. Such a blow seemed to cause little damage. Indeed, a boss is a boss. That hit seemed to do little damage. Don't get careless now. A beam of light streaked past, right beside Kim Ho. The chieftain flew into a rage. You won't die easily. But Kim Ho, unafraid, mocked, oh my, how terrifying. You look really angry. Kim Ho dodged again, thinking, the most important thing for the priest is to perform the ritual. If we just dodge enough during the fight, he'll often leave midway. Want to prevent that unexpected interruption? Just provoke his fury. Let the chieftain keep attacking while you dodge. Naturally, the angrier he gets, the more effective it is, though it does make dodging harder. He glanced back and silently encouraged him. Do it well. Go Hyunwoo. The rest depends on you. A bloodstained pant leg moved forward. Hyunwoo stepped forward solemnly. Behind him lay the sprawled body of a tribesman.